I remember the moment I got left behind. Faces fade to black as they move from the light. Am I even real, even real? Everywhere I look, I'm starting to feel time is eating me alive, me alive. Drowning in my life. Who am I? Time is eating me My feet glued to the floor, I'm not moving anywhere. Locked inside of a crowd that couldn't care less. Everything was moving so fast. Everywhere I look, I'm starting to feel time is eating me alive, me alive. Drowning in my life. Who am I? Time is eating me. Time moves on and on. Can I stomach it? Can I stomach it? Where did I go wrong? My fear built an appetite, but time is eating me alive, me alive. Drowning in my life. Who am I? Time is eating me I remember the moment I got left behind. Faces fade to black as they move from the light. Am I even real, even real? Everywhere I look, I'm starting to feel time is eating me alive, me alive. Drowning in my life. Who
Hello, hello, travelers. Welcome in. It is the second stream of today, and I am vibing. I got off work a couple hours ago, came home, made some tacos for myself. It was good. Hi, Cynthia. Welcome in. We're doing a reading stream today. We are like near the end of this book, so if you don't want any spoilers or anything, or if you're just popping in to say hi, that's fine. Hi, Skelly. Also, I saw Edgelord poke in here and lurk. We're reading Dungeon Crawler Carl. I'm hoping we can either finish off the rest of the book today or get pretty close to where we'll just have one more stream and then that's it. Because I do have a poll up right now in my server for what book we're reading next, and it looks like right now it's still The King in Yellow that's winning, and I'm very excited for that one. I really like that one. But yes, we are here doing our reading stream, which we haven't done in a hot minute, literally. It's been like, what, 2 weeks since we last did it. But I have my rules up, as you can see, my Tales with Time rules. They're the usual, no spoilers. If you know what happens in the story, that's great. Don't spoil it for anyone else in chat. 2, be respectful toward both me and other people in chat. You may have differing opinions on what's happening in the story or certain characters. That's fine. Just respect other people's opinions too. 3, keep it cozy. Reactions are welcome, but no spam or off-topic chatter during reading. So like if you're talking about, I don't know, let's say squirrels mating and me filming them, yeah, no, not allowed, just not allowed, you know. I'm kidding, but pretty much just like keep it pretty on par with what we're doing. And then 4 kind of leans into it. Save long thoughts for pauses. So that's more so for me. I'm gonna be reading. I'm not really gonna be looking at chat. You guys can talk about the book all you want while I'm reading, but I won't really respond until we finish a chapter. And then at the end of the chapter, I usually go over what happened in the chapter, what was fun about it, stuff like that, you know. And I usually try to give like a minute or two for people to say what they want to say before I move on to the next chapter. But those are my rules. Pretty easy stuff. Also, we are reading Dungeon Crawler Carl. If you don't want any spoilers, and if you're new to this type of stream with me, Tales with Time, we are near the ending, so just be aware, like, it's perfectly fine if you want to dip, if you don't want to hear it, or if you want to read it for yourself, which I definitely recommend. Very awesome series, Dungeon Crawler Carl. I'm also not a professional reader. If you would like to hear someone, like, professionally read it with, like, cool voices and, like, sound effects and music and whatnot, I definitely recommend checking out the audiobook for it. It's very well done. Very well done. I love the voice for Princess Donut. I can't remember who the voice person is for it, but absolutely splendid. But yes, last chapter, we're on chapter 35 right now, but the last couple of chapters, if I remember correctly, and let me go back and look. I literally just looked at it, but let me go back and look. Oh, that's right. They were fighting, I believe they were fighting a bunch of like fae or fairies, and stuff like that. They ended up defeating them, but then they started fighting like the boss for him. Yes, they started fighting the boss. Oh, okay. We left it on a cliffhanger. I was rereading the last chapter a bit. We left it on a cliffhanger. So Carl and Donut ended up accidentally triggering the boss fight for the Fays. And Carl set off a really big bomb and he covered Donut, and we left off to where we weren't sure if Carl was alive or not. Or was like severely injured or not. But yes, having said that, I'm gonna go ahead and get started after I snooze these ads here. But yes, I know Lemus isn't here yet. It sucks to suck. He just gonna have to deal. But we are gonna go ahead and get into chapter 35. Speaking of, there we go. Well, that kind of just revealed it. Our cliffhanger is broken now. It's no longer a cliffhanger. Alright, here we go. I wasn't dead. I was deaf. I was blind. I was in a fuck ton of pain. I couldn't feel my legs. But I wasn't dead. I gasped for air. My health indicator blinked, the lowest it had ever been. My eardrums had been blown out. My entire face felt burned, my eyes included. The pain was overwhelming, like hundreds of claws pulling at me from different directions at once. They were still pulling, ripping pieces of me away. The taint still had a minute left before it would run out. I wasn't out of danger yet. I could feel Donut standing on top of me. I could feel the vibration of her voice. She was shouting, pawing at me desperately. "If you're saying something to me, I can't hear you," I said, shouting the words. "Donut, you have to stand up. The room is on fire. We killed the boss. The door is open, but the fire is getting closer. Hurry." "I can't. I think my legs are broken. I can't feel them." I pulled up my health UI, looking at the damage to my body. The entire pie chart was blinking red, all except my feet. My health was at 6% and still ticking downward. I was bleeding internally. I had third-degree burns on my face. My legs were broken. Where the table had smashed into them. A moment later, I felt myself moving through the debris. I realized it was Donut dragging me by my cloak, pulling me from the room. My whole body screamed with pain. A blinking message warned I was about to pass out. "Carl, you need to work on your cardio. You are much heavier than you look." 10 seconds before you can heal me. Get scroll ready," I croaked as darkness descended. I awakened, my body screaming. I felt everything inside of me repair itself. Donut had used one of the heal scrolls, possibly at the last possible second. I jammed down on my healing spell also, which sped up the process. I felt my hearing return, my sight restored, the burn on my face smoothed out. I didn't move for several moments, sitting there, staring up at the ceiling of the hallway. "You saved me again," I said to the cat, who sat next to me, desperately cleaning herself. I still didn't dare move, not trusting the bones of my body not to break again. "That's what I do," she said. "Donut, I don't want to say this out loud, but our views went way up. Isn't it great?" I groaned, rolling onto my side. My one-armed jacket was now scorched to hell. My cloak and other magical items didn't have a scratch on them. I looked down at my toes and they sparkled. "I think I was saved by that damn pedicure kit," I said. The table should have severed my feet right at the ankles. Instead, it bounced off and broke my legs. I would have bled out. The fire in the expanded boss chamber eventually died off, leaving nothing but the melted slag. We wandered in. The alchemy table I'd used as the top part of our shield was undamaged. The other table, the readout pieces that I'd used here as a shield, were now shattered and scorched. "Huh, weird," I said. I touched the alchemy workshop table, and it was cool to the touch. I pulled it back into my inventory. I had 2 such tables now, designed to be placed inside of personal spaces. This one and the engineer's table. It seemed they were indestructible. This was a bug. A bug I could exploit. I couldn't say anything about it, though, not out loud. Had the table's invulnerability saved us? I was going to need to pay attention to the nightly list of patch notes to make sure they didn't fix this one. In the meantime, I'd use it to our advantage. The ductwork on the ceiling hung in tatters, a few pieces still clinging to the chamber by braces. The severed skeletal remains of tentacles lay scattered. The ground was hot to the touch. Donut jumped to my shoulder. "Well, let's get the neighborhood map," I said, hesitantly moving toward the main boss chamber. I cringed, afraid we'd find more dead babies. I shouldered past the long, crumbling skeleton bones to behold the lair of the Croccarin. "It smells like that time you tried microwaving Fancy Feast," Donut said. "I was drunk," I said, "and you ate that shit right up." More tattered ductwork filled the room. There had been banners on the wall, but I could no longer read them. I didn't see anything that could be construed as baby skeletons, which was a relief. Dozens of Cluricons had been in here along with a few splatters that might have been Laminac fairies. The mechanical remains of a moonshine still sat in the corner, like I suspected, but it appeared the machine was much smaller than I had guessed it might be. It was probably why I was still alive. I'd assumed the thing to be huge and explosive. The remnants of copper tubes snaked from the machine to the main dead body of the Croccarin monster. She'd been huge, 20 feet tall at least, an immobile octopus-like creature. Her stinking dead body leaned against the back wall as we stared at it. Half of her head was burned away, but it seemed she had a beaked mouth and a group of eyes. Black streaks ran down the massive corpse, like running mascara. She stank of rotting seafood. They'd taken some sort of cosmic octopus creature and combined it with your average suburban anti-vax. Let me talk to your manager mom. At least that was my impression. The door on the outside of the room, this whole ridiculous storyline with the MLM moonshine certainly made it seem that way. But there was more to it, too. I suspected the Krakarin collective, or whatever they called it, was a real thing. Sort of. This whole time it had seemed they were just combining absurd stereotypes from Earth with random monsters just to fuck with us. It came to me now, as I stared up at this thing, that they were doing the opposite. After all, this was all really for the benefit of the audience, not us. They were taking something familiar to the viewers, like these interstellar dumbass octopus monsters, and combining them with an Earth analog in an effort to both teach the watchers about Earth culture and to lampoon interstellar cultures and creatures they felt deserving of scorn. Kind of like the way cartoonists would sometimes personify rats and snakes as scumbags, or foxes as shady used car dealers, or Persian cats as princesses. A massive cage filled half the room, still intact. The creatures within had mostly burned to slag, but I could see that it had been filled to the brim with brindle grubs. They were all dead. We never got to see the boss up close, Donut said as I moved near enough to loot the neighborhood map. Something tells me this isn't the last time we'll see this one, I said, as the twists and turns of the neighborhood populated onto my interface. Oh, fuck. Hi, Sharp. I'm doing Tales of Time right now, but welcome in. We're reading Dungeon Crawler Carl. We're kind of near the end, though, so if you don't want to hear any spoilers or if you want to read it for yourself, that's perfectly fine. You don't have to stay. What? Donut asked. Look at the map, I said. At least 50 red dots filled the area, all of them slow-moving. Brindle grubs. It was like they could sense a battle, and they converged on an area. Killing them wasn't a problem. They didn't fight back. I could literally run over them and kill an entire hallway of them in seconds. But that was a lot of them. A whole lot. I planned out the path to the tutorial guild. It wasn't far, just a few hundred meters away. Let's go talk to Mordecai, I said. That bitch really said that? Mordecai said, outraged, after I told him about Odette's offer. She wants me to seek her out? I'd rather spend another 2,000 years in this room than exist in the same solar system as her. I'd rather meet a woman, sire children, and then devour those children than have anything to do with her again. So that's a no, then, Donut asked. Mordecai was no longer a rat hooligan. He'd shapeshifted into a much larger, hairier, and obsidian creature called the Bugaboo. He was like a bear with no neck, with enormous owlish eyes and comically skinny legs. His long arms were also absurdly thin compared to the rest of the 7-foot-tall creature. He looked terrifying and cartoonish at the same time. I'd almost punched him right in the face when we first entered the room. It took a solid 10 seconds for me to realize that this was still Mordecai. I examined his properties now. Mordecai, Bugaboo, level 50, Guild Master of the Guild Hall. This is a non-combatant NPC. You know that creepy, unkempt guy who lives in the corner? He doesn't seem to have a job, has a van, hangs out at the park with a pair of binoculars. Yeah, you get the idea. Solitary monstrosities that never settle in a single place. Bugaboos may be found anywhere on the dungeon's lower floors, often lying in wait for crawlers to pass by so they can jump out and do things to them. They'll tell you they just want to cuddle. That's probably a lie. That's quite the monster they chose for you, I said. Mordecai nodded. These guys are pretty depraved. They have them on the first and second floors, but the third floor will be filled with them. Don't wander near alleys at night. At night? I asked. Mordecai waved. I can't tell you about that. I looked up at him, but he winked at me. I understood. So Odette, I asked. You don't like her? Is there something we need to be worried about? Mordecai took a long, deep breath. Odette cares about Odette. She is smart, she is cunning, and she is more self-centered than the thing at the center of the galaxy. But her current gig, it is perfect for her. She can be very useful and helpful to you. Until you're not. It's funny. That's pretty much the exact same thing she'd said about the game's AI. I didn't say that out loud. If she invites us back on the show, should we go? I asked. Mordecai grunted. Oh, you should go. Her program is one of the few I would recommend. Not that they'd give you much of a choice. Speaking of shows, there's someone who wants to speak with you. I'd been asked to ping her once you showed up here. She'll arrive in about 10 or 15 minutes. Another show? Donut asked. She just started combing through her achievements in boxes. She didn't seem to have gotten anything noteworthy except one item. Her boss box contained an enchantment fur brush of the oh my god, what the fuck is that word? Of the ecclesiastic. That is not how you say that. That is not how you say that word. Ecclesiastic. We're gonna put that in chat because I need someone to tell me how to say it. If that's how you say it, okay. Never mind then. We're good. That worked in a similar fashion to my pedicure kit. As long as someone brushed her fur for 10 minutes every night, she'd receive an extra 2 points to her constitution for 30 hours. It was better than nothing, but even with the buff, her constitution was only 4. Hi, Nick. I see you. She'll explain who she is when she gets here, Mordecai said. He leaned forward and whispered in my ear, Do not upset this woman. She has a lot of power over your fate. I swallowed. I had a feeling this wasn't going to be a good thing. I have several questions, I said, settling into the chair. Mordecai settled uncomfortably across from me. Before, the chairs had been too big for him. Now they were too small. Let's hear it. Right. You said it'd probably be 10 days, but it's 6, I said. Is that a question? Mordecai asked. He shrugged. This is the first time I've ever seen it lower than the maximum. The minimum is 1 day longer. They gave a reason in the last announcement. That's all I can say about that. Mordecai lifted his eyes, looking up at the ceiling. Can viewers see us in this room? I asked. Yes, Mordecai said. Like I said before, the only place they can't follow is in the restrooms. They can only hear or see you, however. Not me. Only those with press credentials can see or hear me. Those like Odette. Most people know this and only watch if you have a good loot box to open. Shit. I hadn't thought about that. Before, Mordecai had been more forthright, but we also hadn't been under a crazy amount of scrutiny either. Getting straight answers out of him was now going to be more difficult. Do you know who Damien is? Mordecai looked as if I'd just slapped him. Who told you that name? He hissed. Did Odette tell you about him? Whoa, I said, holding up my hands. Not Odette. It was a mob. A fairy. She called for him just before we killed her. Mordecai relaxed. Those damn fairies. They're always getting themselves in trouble. Damien is a location manager. Each city area has one. There are only 3 for this floor. He is my manager's manager. You're not supposed to see or know about him. I'm only allowed to tell you about this sort of stuff if you ask directly. We spent some time talking about the Burrow boss fight and the last fight with the Krakarin. I asked him what her weakness was, and he smiled, telling me he wasn't allowed to say, which really told me my theory was correct. It wasn't the last we'd see of that particular boss. I asked him about Agatha, about them editing her out of the boss battle. He waved it off. They probably didn't want to confuse the narrative. Again, I could sense that there was more there. I'd try not to let my frustration show. I told him my theory about how they were combining real aliens with Earth stereotypes. Mordecai looked equally frustrated. He paused as if thinking hard. That's mostly correct. Again, it's not really something I can discuss, but this isn't exactly some big secret either. Some of these monsters are made by AI. Some are simply the actual creatures from their world. The testlings in the ball of swine, for example. And some, like you've deduced, are created by a team of writers. Like with anything that's been put together by a team, what you end up with can vary wildly. Those llamas, for example, they are unique to your planet, and I don't recall anything in your culture that suggests they should be as drug-dealing gangbangers. Someone just thought it'd be an interesting combo. Not everything will be socially commentary. It's usually just stupid, I muttered. It's entertainment, Mordecai said, once again reminding me of something Odette said. There was a much deeper story there between those two. I wondered if I'd ever learn. Also, I've been meaning to ask you about this tattoo on my neck, I said. The Desperado Club. Nope, Mordecai said. Off limits. You'll learn about the 3rd floor soon enough. Sorry. Now, you better open your boxes before Zeb gets here. Once she's here, the cameras will turn off. Cameras will always turn off when Kuatin are around. Shit. Okay, I said, opening my folder. My IED and explosives handling and several other explosives-based skills had leaped to 7 thanks to my creation of the Carl's Jugaboom. I also received a pretty strange achievement. New achievement, Dungeonpreneur. You have invented a stackable weapon, device, or potion. You will be memorialized for eternity with your name in the Dungeon Codex. Just don't let it get to your head, Elon. Reward. For every kill made with this device by other crawlers, you will receive a single gold coin. If you survive the dungeon, you will continue to receive this benefit even during future seasons. At the current gold to credit exchange rate for the remainder of your natural life. Our lawyers made us put that last part in. But between you and me, we both know you're going to die, and we're going to keep using your hard work for our own benefit. Interesting. It was too bad nobody else could ever use these things. The main ingredient, the jug of moonshine, was probably pretty rare, and those jugs were more valuable when they were left unaltered. I received a bunch of the usual stuff, plus a couple hundred gold coins, bringing our hoard to just over 1,000 coins. I went over it all. More potions and torches and biscuits. I had enough food now to feed an army for a month straight. I received a couple goblin boxes and took in more dynamite, smoke bombs, and lighters. I received a bronze crowd control box and added two scrolls of confusing fog. This time, I would give them both to Donut. I opened the boss box. Don't say anything. Don't say anything out loud. I couldn't help it. I looked up at the ceiling. Really? Fucking really? Behind me, Mordecai laughed, but a moment later he added, "Whoa, that's actually a really good prize." It was a white pair of boxers covered in little red hearts. God damn it, I muttered as I examined them. Enchanted big boy boxers. Have you ever read an Incredible Hulk comic and thought to yourself, everything rips off of his body except his pants? No way. Well, spoiler alert, you're not wrong. Size-altering and wear creatures, such as the big boy, are required to wear enchanted self-sizing items lest they wish to turn the dungeon into a nudist colony when they transform. That means everything they wear requires an enchantment. Everything, including their naughty little undies. +2 to Constitution. Wearer may cast a level 15 protective shell once every 30 hours. Don't look, I said, and I pulled my scorched and threadbare boxers off and slipped the new ones on. The old ones fell apart in my hands. The first thing I did was open the spell menu, find Protective Shell, and move it to my hot list. Protective Shell. Picture yourself in high school. Now picture all the girls who would never get anywhere near you. It's kind of like that, but on purpose. Cost. This is an item-based spell. The spell does not require mana to cast. If you unequip an associated item, you will lose access to this spell. The cooldown will not reset. Target. A 3-meter radius sphere centered around the right hand of the caster, plus 50 centimeters of radius per level of the intelligence. Current radius 4.5 meters. Duration 5 seconds plus 1 second per level of spell. Current duration 20 seconds. Requires 30-hour cooldown. A favorite of frontline tanks and castle guards, the expensive and rare Protective Shell spell shields the caster and anyone within the sphere from a mob's physical presence of physical attacks. This spell does not protect against magic or against non-corporeal entities. Unlike the more popular shield spell, this spell does not move with you. This spell's area of effect remains static once cast, unimpeded by your physical surroundings. So if you use the spell only when you really, really need it, you're probably only delaying the inevitable by a few seconds. I had that spell during my crawl, Mordecai said. It saved me more than once. It has a fantastic secondary effect. Since the spell doesn't move once cast, you can... Warning. You may not wield your weapons while in the presence of admins. Any attempted violence against an admin will result in your immediate execution. The stern message came out of nowhere, and it was spoken in a different voice than anyone I'd heard before. Like with the boss battles, it wasn't voiced in my head, but over an unseen loudspeaker. Donut immediately jumped to my shoulder. There was a loud pop, and a new creature appeared in the room, standing in a puddle right in front of me. A Kuatin. And that was the end of chapter 5. Oh, not too bad. It took us like, I want to say like 20 minutes because we did yap for I think like 10 minutes in the beginning. Oh, but so Carl survived. He got some big boy undies, which if you go, I think the comic is on Webtoons. They have a comic for Dungeon Crawler Carl, and they do have those boxes on them, and it's just absolutely hilarious. It's one of my favorite things ever. But yes, any thoughts or anything? I'll give you guys like a minute or two to respond if you want. Yeah, you didn't miss too much. This chapter was more of like Carl survived and now they're getting some more info from Mordecai and whatnot, basically, is what it was. So you didn't really miss too much. I literally just started. So, now we're going into chapter 36, though. Hold on. All right, we all ready? I'm going forward. We're gonna try to truck through it. I'm trying to get as like much done as possible so that way we can like finish this next stream or this stream, but we'll see. It's starting to get interesting again. Oh boy. All right, chapter 36. All of my menus disappeared. My entire HUD snapped off. It was just like it had been when we'd been transported up to the production boat floating on the surface. I just stared at the person, uncomprehending for several seconds. Are you kidding me with this shit? It was a Kuatan, a female Kuatan, an actual representative from the Borant Corporation. I remembered the massive carving of the fish creatures on the door, and I compared it to this beast. Before, I'd seen similar sea creatures in the audience at the taping of Odette's show. I now know that those were not Kuatan. Those people were very different. And while the gigantic relief carvings on the door did an adequate job of portraying the aquatic race's features, it left one important detail out. This Kuatan stood about 2 feet tall. She was barely tall enough to reach my knee. I examined the woman's properties. Zev, Born Corporation Assistant Communications Representative. This is a dungeon admin. That was it. No additional information, no snarky AA talking about mud skippers. It took me several moments to take in her outfit. Zev looked like an astronaut from a 1950s sci-fi comic. She wore a round glass helmet filled with water. A pair of tubes snaked from the back of the helmet to a bulky backpack. The water bubbled like she was in a portable fish tank. The rest of her humanoid fish body was hidden inside of a white mesh spacesuit. The whole getup was half space age, half old school deep diving suit. Good evening, ma'am, Mordecai said, standing straight. Hello, Mordecai, the fishwoman said, her voice amplified through a little speaker on her outfit. It's nice to finally meet you face to face. There was something about the woman that suddenly made Mordecai visibly relax, but I couldn't tell what it was. There might have been an exchange I couldn't hear. I just didn't know. Even Donut seemed to notice. The cat kept looking back and forth between the tiny fish and the large guildmaster. Ma'am, I must say, I haven't seen one of these water suits in centuries, Mordecai said, walking around the woman. Most Kuatan wear rebreathers around their necks. You can barely see them. I've been assured the armor of this device is second to none. If one of my fellow employees wishes to enter this godforsaken place without any proper armor, then that is on them. Ma'am, I don't want to sound rude, but can you move in that thing? Mordecai asked. No, she admitted. Not really. If you must know, this is my first foray into a dungeon, and I want it to be safe. So you're really here, I said. I resisted the urge to reach down and tap on the glass. Yes, she said, looking up at me. Other corporations may utilize hollows for their training guilds and admins, but Borant prefers a more fins-on approach. You know you're in no danger while you're in a safe room, Mordecai said. The mobs know not to attack you, and the AI negates all attacks inside of safe areas. Unless you're planning on going for a stroll, ma'am, I wouldn't worry about it. Yeah, well, tell that to those 12 workers in site prep. Did you see this morning's update? They were swallowed whole. Or that human admin who didn't realize the no urinating in the dungeon rule applied to everyone. They said all that was left was a splatter on the floor. I had no idea what was going on with this exchange, but Zev seemed to realize she was talking in front of a pair of crawlers. She returned her gaze up at us. Anyway, I wanted to do a meet and greet with you two, Zev said. This will only take a quick crutch of your time. I don't know what that means, but go ahead, I said. My name is Zev, and I work within the Borant Corporation's communication department. I am a liaison between Borant and the privately owned and operated programs who wish to borrow crawlers for their shows. We have identified several individuals and teams who have gained early popularity. As is probably no surprise to you, you two are on that list. On my shoulders, I felt Donut's claws sink deep into me. The cat was shuddering with pleasure. We've already been on one show, I said. Dungeon Crawler After Hours with Odette. Yes, she said, I am aware. Certain production companies are allowed to pluck crawlers away between stairwells, but if they want to transport crawlers to their sets at any other time, after boss battles for example, they must arrange it through our office. Usually these requests are granted automatically, but once crawlers reach a certain level of notoriety, the number of requests can become a bit overwhelming. We generally don't want our crawlers to leave the game more than twice a floor. As you've already received over 24 interview requests from this most recent boss battle alone, you have automatically been entered into the Crawler-Assisted Outreach Program. And in other words, you've been assigned a PR agent. Me. You're our agent? Our PR agent. You get us gigs, Donut asked, voice full of wonder. That's right, Zev said. From now on, all interview and panel requests will filter through me. I've opened up a special chat channel so I can send you messages through your interface. Zev looked about distastefully. Also, they make me come down here and talk to you directly after interviews for a debriefing. This is absolutely fabulous, Donut said. Can we provide advanced riders, like with makeup and green room requirements? How about a more important question, I asked. Can we refuse interviews? Last time we didn't have much of a choice. She nodded. I will always ask you before whisking you away, but... She leaned in, and her entire outfit creaked ominously. Odette has already contracted with our office. She gets first right of refusal for each floor opening. You're already locked into those interviews, and as long as you keep your numbers up, you will go on her show. That means I'll try to schedule one additional interview for each floor down. You can refuse what show you go on, but I'm afraid you'll be obligated to pick something. We might move to 3 interviews for the lower floors depending on how it's going and whether or not the party keeps insisting on accelerating the game. And if you survive, of course, but whatever happens, I promise I will do my best to get you quality gigs. What about now? Donut asked. Do you have something for us now? Yes, she said. There are a few options, but for this one, I went ahead and chose a program for you. It's a little less serious than Odette's show, but it will hit a demographic that you aren't yet trending in. Plus, it's a roundtable style discussion, and in this program, all crawlers get a parting gift. Sometimes it's a joke, but it's usually something useful. A gift? Donut said. Carl, we get a gift! Wait, are we doing this now? I asked. No, Zev said. I'll ping you when it's time. It'll be at -6 + 1 full. Minus what? I said. I felt a sudden, unexpected wave of rage at the fishwoman. It came out of nowhere, and I didn't know what set it off. She's just a goddamn pawn like everyone else. It's not her fault. Still, I couldn't help it. She was a Kuatin, the enemy, the real enemy, and I couldn't do anything about it. Take a deep breath. We don't understand your time reference. She sighed. 6 hours before the next recap episode. Not the one tonight, but the next one. So in about 40 hours. Since you'll be doing your Odette interviews between floors, I figured it'd be best to schedule your second appearance right in the middle of the floor's timer. It'll keep interest up. Also, you should try to line up a major boss battle right as the floor closes like you did last time. That really worked in your favor. That rage, which I thought I had successfully held back, bubbled up and out. God damn it. God fucking damn it, I said. Mordecai raised his hands in alarm, rapidly shaking them, trying to get me to stop. I didn't care. We are, quite literally, fighting for our lives here. We are not willing participants, and I am getting sick of pretending we are. We are going on these fucking interviews not because we want to, but because we have to. The fish looked up at him through her helmet eyes wide. Zev, ma'am, whatever the hell I'm supposed to call you, so you don't send a lightning bolt up my ass. I don't want to get in trouble with you, or Borant, or the Syndicate, or whoever else is running this bullshit. I'm doing what you have asked. I'm killing monsters, trying to level up, trying to survive. I will smile, and I will joke, and I will put a proper face on when I go on these shows. But fuck. You have already taken everything from us. Do not ask us to give more than what we have. We are not going to fight to survive on your schedule. Watch out, profanity. I sat there, my chest heaving, glaring down at the fish. The world seemed frozen. Mordecai looked terrified. Donut, who remained on my shoulder, butted her head against the side of my own. She purred. A deep, silent rumbling. Her reaction surprised me, but not as much as Zev's reaction. Look, she said after a moment. I know, okay? Nobody in this room is an idiot. She pointed at Mordecai. The moment I appeared, he was terrified of me. Once he saw I wasn't wearing a party badge, he relaxed. When I'm done here, I go back down to the production headquarters and I will have to face my boss, who is a member of the party. If I do or say the wrong thing, my entire family will be wiped from the universe. You're going to go out there and face mobs who know people like you are prowling the halls, trying to find and kill them. They, the sapient ones, they live in constant fear of you guys. We are all part of the same inexorable... Is that how you pronounce it? Inexorable machine. All of us are afraid. Yes, your place in this really sucks. It's not fair. You know it. I know it. The cat knows it. But believe it or not, I am on your side. The better you do, the longer you survive. The better I do... The better you do, the longer you survive, the better I do. So when I tell you that you should do something, you best listen, because I know what I'm talking about. Nobody moved or said anything for several seconds. We just stood there, looking at one another. This is just like that scene in season 3 of Gossip Girl, when Chuck and Blair break up over the hotel, Donut said. I turned to regard the cat on my shoulder, and I burst out laughing. I couldn't help it. It wasn't funny. I'd never watched that damn show. Yet I laughed, and I had a hard time stopping. No, it's not, Mordecai said a moment later. How do you even get that from this? Zev turned her fish gaze to my cat, then Mordecai. I can't believe it. You two have watched Gossip Girl? Nobody on my team has watched anything except that old show Cops and Judge Judy. We've been stuck here for 15 solars with nothing for entertainment but Earth-based programs, and I've had nobody to talk to them about. Oh, honey, Donut said, jumping down from my shoulder to sit next to the fish. I have seen everything. Season 5, the car accident. No, stop. You're going to make me cry, Zev said, waving her fish arms. I thought, fish can cry? They started rapidly talking with one another about the show. Bea used to sit up and rewatch the series over and over again. She'd clutch onto Donut and sob every time. That was dangerous, Mordecai whispered to me as Donut and Zev continued to talk. She's about as low level as you can get and still be an admin, but you need to control your temper. She has the power to end you. All Kuaten are dangerous. Party members are not. What the hell is the party? I asked, also whispering. We both took a few steps back. He was right about my temper. I rarely lost it, but that didn't matter right now. This was a rare opportunity. The ability to talk to Mordecai without nobody else listening. It's a political party. They're called the Bloom. Now, everyone just calls it the party. Ultra nationalism. The closest thing you have in your history is maybe Axis Japan, with a good splash of Nazi Germany thrown in. But even that's not quite right, he said. When I signed my indentureship contract, the Bloom represented less than 15% of the votes. Now they control the whole Kuaten system government. They've run it into the ground. The whole system is bankrupt. They've recently started requiring all Kuaten to wear a badge indicating if they're members or not. Jesus, I said. Listen carefully, Mordecai said, looking nervously down at Zev. We don't have time to get into the details, but Borant is being forced by their own government to end the game as quickly as possible. You need to be especially careful not to upset them. I don't understand, I said, alarm rising. I thought they started it early to stave off a bankruptcy seizure action or whatever. That's what Odette implied. Wouldn't they want to keep it running as long as possible? He nodded. That's what everyone thought at first. They're doing a cash grab with the new patron system, but they don't get that money or any money from the advertising or the tourism funds or elite monster sponsorships or anything else until the season is over. They need that cash as soon as possible, but they also first need to raise enough. Their whole system is balancing on a wire. They need the game to be entertaining and profitable, but they also need it to finish more quickly than usual. The committee has already issued a warning, putting Boran to notice over the bugs that keep occurring. Like the issue with the bathrooms and the overpowered moms. One too many violations and Morin could lose everything. There are protections in place. Plus, there is pushback within the company itself. But the Kuatin government is working extra hard to get you killed. That's just wonderful, I said. Zev looked up at me, as if surprised I was still in the room. Mordecai saw this and took a few steps away. I think it's time for us to get back out there, I said to Donut. We need to finish clearing this quadrant out, and then we need to escort Team Meadowlark to the stairs. I want to get it done before the next recap episode. We will talk more later, Donut said to Zev. Or we can talk over chat, Zev said. The fish's demeanor had completely changed. Tell me you've watched Riverdale, Donut gasped. Nope, I said, reaching down to scoop the cat up. You two will talk all night. Wait, one crutch. I have to leave before you can, Zev said as I put my hand on the door handle to the dungeon. It's the rules. I'll ping you regarding the next interview. And without further fanfare, she disappeared with a pop. Water splashed over my feet as she disappeared. There's more I want to discuss, I said to Mordecai. All our menus snapped back on, the HUD flickering like a booting up computer. I pulled at the door. But it is getting late. We'll be... I trailed off as I glanced at the mini-map. Why had the map changed color? The door opened all the way, and a waist-high pile of grubs fell into the room. And that was the end of chapter 36. I feel like we're kind of flying through the chapters here a little bit. Which I'm not complaining about. It means we get further into the book. But again, that one was kind of like a real big info dump chapter. But basically, they got themselves like a manager for all their interviews and stuff that they'll in the future get for all the shows they'll go on. And basically just some more info on Borant and why they're rushing things. Basically they're going, or the syndicate is going bankrupt and they need money. Yeah, they found out they're fucked. But the syndicate is running out of money. They're about to go bankrupt, which is not good for them. So they're trying to both make the show entertaining so they can pull in money. It's like a big money grab scheme, you know? Like, you know, when you watch like the first season of show and then the second season comes out almost like, a couple months after, but it's not that good and it ends so quickly. It's like that. It's like that, you know? Which is not good news for Carl and Donut, which means it basically is just that there's more probability that they're gonna die. But yes, we are now in chapter 37. I'm gonna go ahead and continue reading. If there's any other thoughts, go ahead and say your piece now while I take a sip of water. Ugh, that was refreshing. It was really cold. Alright. Yeah, can I throw the cat in the water? No, you cannot throw Princess Donut in the water, Lemus. Princess Donut is just the best, okay? We love Princess Donut here, alright? Alright, on to chapter 37. Mordecai shrieked in rage. Out! Out of my room! He kicked at the monsters, punting them like oversized footballs out into the hallway. Ugh! I cried, jumping back. Why aren't they teleporting away? They won't until they attack, he said. Not on their own, at least. He was scooping them up by the armfuls, tossing them back out into the hall. But it was useless. For every 2 he tossed out, 4 more got in. Eventually he gave up and slammed the door, trapping several dozen in the room. He waved his hand and they all disappeared. He wiped his hands on his fur. There! There were hundreds of them in the hallway. Thousands of them. I just stared dumbfounded. They kept coming and coming. They're following us, I realized. Where the hell were they coming from, though? Up until now, it had seemed all the dungeon monsters were preceded. Once we killed all the monsters in an area, that was it. The area was safe. These guys were being spawned somewhere nearby. They had to be. I leaned against the door and zoomed out the map to view the whole neighborhood. Thousands more of them were crawling their way towards us. They seemed to be coming from the south, from a direction we hadn't yet explored. The hallway with the stairs wasn't yet infested, but it would be soon. What the hell is this? I asked Mordecai. I've never seen anything like this. Not on the second floor, Mordecai said. His eyes had gone glossy, which I recognized as him searching through his special menu. Yep, as I suspected. He looked at me, his shaggy face looking grim. They're being spawned. Yeah, no shit, I said. Every floor has a waste disposal system, he continued. So far, you've seen rats and the grubs. The more dead bodies they eat, the stronger they get. It'll be something different the next floor down. They're supposed to home in on corpses, but if none are nearby, they'll hunt crawlers. That's what they're doing. These guys don't attack, but they'll still swarm at you. But why are there so many of them? It looks like the system is spawning anywhere between 1 to 15 of them when a corpse is created. It usually doesn't do that unless there aren't any janitor mobs nearby. You killed a lot of mobs in that last battle, so here they are. We didn't kill that many, plus we've been destroying the corpses. They probably had a couple hundred grubs in that cage in the boss room, Mordecai said. He paused. Yes, there were 750 of them, all fried. Plus you killed 85 Cluricons between grinding away in the boss battle. Destroying the corpses only keeps them from leveling up. It doesn't stop them from being generated. You, my friend, have been set up. You've fallen into a trap. Good news is they're easy to kill. The bad news is these little buggers don't give any experience. At least not the level 2 ones. Wait, I said. This even works on themselves? So for every grub we step on, 15 more will appear? Sort of, he said. There's a pre-quadrant limit. If you kill all 5,000 of the grubs out there, 75,000 aren't going to appear. Do you know what the limit is? I asked, looking at the map. The entire area blinked red, centered on us. Yeah, he said. You've already hit it. It's 5,000. Fucking hell. Is it like this elsewhere? Or is it like this everywhere? Across the whole dungeon? It looks like it, Mordecai said. It's to keep people from camping out in one area for too long. As long as you keep moving, it shouldn't be an issue. Carl, Brandon, can you see this? We'd set up the chat, but we hadn't really used it yet. Brandon, loud and clear. You guys doing okay? Carl, we have an issue. It's not a huge deal yet, but it will be soon. Let's get your folks moving towards the stairs now. We'll meet you in the hallway outside this quadrant. Brandon, 10-4, we're on our way. Wait until you see what we built. They were barely 3/4 of a mile away, but with that crowd, it'd take a couple hours at least for them to get set up. Come on, Donut, I said. We need to carve a hole back to the other team. At least these bastards are all level 2 grubs. Even Donut cringed the moment I said that out loud. We started by tossing firebombs in the halls, then moving forward, but after a while I realized it was just a waste of good moonshine. The level 2s by themselves were literally harmless. I could pick one up and put it in my lap, and it didn't do anything. They were large, with scary-looking mandibles, but they didn't bite or attack or anything. They just sort of squeaked and wriggled, and for every one we killed, we were just generating another. Plus, if we didn't properly destroy the bodies, we were increasing the chance of getting these guys to level up. The problem was they were so thick in some places, it was impossible not to step on them with my bare feet, crunching them down. I tried my best to avoid them, but for every one I killed, I smeared down with my foot, crunching until the X went away on the map. The moment it died, its friends all turned on it, taking bites from its body. Even when I completely destroyed it, they continued to chew and lap up the remains. I took that as an ominous sign. If I had to step on more than 2 or 3 grubs in a hallway, I tossed a bomb jug in behind us. Better safe than sorry. This is taking forever, Donut complained from my shoulder. We're almost there, I said, pushing a grub away with my foot. This last hallway was mostly clear. Only 40 or so of them. Brandon and the crew were making record time, he said. They were almost at the rendezvous. Once we hit the main hallway, we were all going straight to the stairwell. I plotted a path starting a few alleyways north, so we only needed to get them through a pair of grub-infested intersections. As long as we moved relatively quickly, this would work. And once they were down the stairs, we'd carve our way north, punching back into the neighborhood with the danger dingoes and kobolds. From there, we'd head back to the safe room, watch the evening show, sleep, and then hop on the chopper and spend the rest of the time grinding away in different neighborhoods until it was time to hit the stairs. Hopefully, we'd find a different exit, but if not, we'd come back and firebomb our way to the stairwell here. Donut. Carl, people are getting bored with this. My followers haven't gone up in 5 minutes. Carl. For fuck's sake, Donut, don't worry. I'm sure something awful is going to happen any second. We exited out into the main hallway. The moment we did, the grubs behind us seemed to lose interest in following. They just stopped, settling down. It was creepy as hell. I saw the wall of blue dots coming down the hallway. It looked as if it was all of them, so we went jogging toward them. I stopped and laughed the moment I saw the parade. Amani and Chris were both wearing leather straps across their chests that I recognized as pig harnesses from the tussling courtesans. They strained as they pulled all the others behind them. They'd built a parade float. That's what it looked like. They'd taken the wheels from multiple wheelchairs that no longer had owners and affixed them to long pieces of wood. I had no idea where the wooden platforms had come from, but I knew Amani and Chris both were as obsessive about looting everything as I was. Using some of the goblins' tools, they'd cobbled together the contraption. Looking more closely, it was more like a train or a set of roller coaster cars. There were a total of 39 people being pulled, most of them sitting upon their own chairs, which sat locked in place, 2 by 2. The ones who normally used walkers sat cross-legged on the boards, watching wide-eyed as they were pulled along. The giant centipede was 10 cars long, and each section held 4 people. The individual cars were attached to one another by a set of glowing metal chains. The same chain attached Chris and Amani to the rest of the train. It seemed it was one chain running from Chris through all the cars and back up to Amani, about 300 feet long. "It's more maneuverable than it looks," Brandon said, jogging up. "We made it from the safe room to the hallways easily. Chris says once they get going, he barely feels the weight. The only problem is that the cars are too wide to fit through the safe room doors, so we have to stage it all in the hallway. There were a lot of those grubs, but we ran right over them." "Where'd you get that chain?" Amani had a scroll called Yog's Special Chain or something like that. She just got it from some gold box. I don't know what for. She could pick any length up to something crazy like 1,000 feet. It's light as a feather, but the chain only lasts for 30 hours. This whole thing was her idea, though Chris designed it. He even added ramps so they can get on and off easily. "Hey, you have an extra star by your name," I said. He nodded. "You know the mind horrors, the floating brain things? Yolanda, Chris, and I went to clear them out. I remembered what you said about needing to train, so I figured we better." Yolanda would shoot them from down the hallway, deflating them before they could hurt us. The boss room was this hidden abandoned warehouse thing. The boss was a giant blimp. We took it out pretty easily thanks to Yolanda. That's also where we got all this wood. "Did it come out of its room?" I gave him a quick recap of what happened with the Karen Kraken. Sorry. Chris, dude, our boss battle was much easier. It never left his lair. "Oh, Christ, dude." I was like, "Chris? Who the fuck is Chris?" Sorry. They were lucky to be alive, but I was glad they'd spent the time training themselves. Yolanda was now level 9, equal with both the brothers. Amani was still level 11, and she didn't have the extra bronze star. "Amani didn't go with you?" I asked. "No," Brandon said. "Someone had to stay with the residents." "Any signs of Agatha?" I asked. "Not a one," he said. "But with these grubs, I'm not surprised. They devour everything. We saw a few level 3s on our way up here." "Yeah, we need to get moving," I said. I pointed to an alleyway. "Guys, down that way." I called to Amani and Chris. They nodded and turned. "I see a safe room down that way." "What's in there?" Brandon asked. "I don't know," I said. "We haven't checked that one out yet." This hallway was only a few meters from the edge of the quadrant. It bordered the one with the kobolds, who we hadn't seen yet. I kept a wary eye out for dingoes. Some of the residents clapped their hands with delight as we turned into the hallway. Miss McGibbons, the one who earlier wanted to watch Divorce Court, looked down at me as they passed. She was on the very last train car, this one only carrying 3 riders. She was the only one on the platform in a wheelchair. The other 2 were men with walkers, both sitting down. The name over the woman said crawler number 12,330,800. Ellie McGibb. Or L. McGibb. "Hi, Carl," she said. "Hi, Miss McGibbons. You remembered my name today," I said, moving to walk alongside the train. "This reminds me of the Tunnel of Love," she said. "Back in my time, my Barry and I used to always go to the carnival. We'd eat the cotton candy and throw darts at the balloons. We'd go in the Tunnel of Love, when it was a boat. I'd let him touch my boobs, but only on the outside of my sweater." I laughed. I loved my Barry, but he wasn't the prettiest man to look at. If you were in the Tunnel of Love with me, I'd have let you do more than touch them on the outside of my clothes. I said, "Thank you?" I couldn't think of a better response. The old woman cackled. Behind her, Yolanda barked with laughter. "You've been hit on twice now," Donut said. "Once by a meth-addled goblin shaman, and once by Abraham Lincoln's grandmother. I can't wait to see who you attract next. 5 gold coins says it's some sort of bog witch with a beard." Yolanda had told me earlier that this woman was 99 years old. I looked up at her. 99 years. She'd lived an entire life, had a husband whom she'd clearly loved. It seemed obscene that she'd be here in this place. I thought of the others who'd spent their final hours in a safe room, singing. We should have made them all stay. This isn't a kindness, keeping them safe. Donut jumped from my shoulder and landed on the woman's lap. The cat's crupper and butterfly talisman jingled when she landed. Oh, hello, pretty kitty, the woman said. She started petting the cat. Donut purred loudly. Bring that pussy over here, one of the men said. He laughed lewdly. The man seemed even older than Miss McGibbons. He wore a Bengals hat, too, small for his bulbous head. Don't be crude, Jack, Yolanda said. I moved forward to walk alongside Brandon, Chris, and Amani, keeping my eye on the map. Yolanda kept up the rear, walking with her bow at the ready. We're taking a left 2 intersections down, right past that safe room. We'll have to cross through an infested area, but I'll firebomb it. The mass of red dots was already starting to shift toward us. Thankfully, they were painfully slow. I could take a nap before they'd reach this hall. Carl, thank you, Brandon said. You were helping us to your own detriment. You are a good man. I smiled. If we get to the point where we don't help each other anymore, that's when we stop being human. I felt something catch in my throat, and I coughed. Zev. Carl, that was great. Can you say that for me again, but this time don't cough? I stopped dead. My neck tingled with goosebumps. I knew we were being watched and followed, but having someone actually comment in my mind was one of the most unnerving sensations I'd ever felt. Are you kidding me with this? No, I'm not going to say it again. Have you been watching this whole time? Zeb, you and my other clients. The Save the Elderly storyline is playing great with most viewers. That said, about 20% of the focus group thinks you're wasting time and being stupid. Dead weight, I think was the term some of them have used, but most of them understand what you're doing. Donut is right, however. It's a little dry. Maybe you can... Oh shit. Oh fuck. Carl, Donut, run. Run to the safe room now. No, Jack, no! Yolanda called. I turned to see Jack, Cincinnati Bengals hat sitting cockeyed on his head. He'd stood to his full height, using the wheelchair with Miss McGibbons and Donut as a brace. His pants were down to his ankles, dick out, pissing directly on the wall. Oh shit! Oh no! Oh, I remember the scene. I'm not gonna lie, that was the end of chapter 37, by the way. I remember this scene. Good old Jackaboy decided to take a piss in the dungeon, which, if you guys recall, is a big no-no to the rules. You're not supposed to pee on the dungeon walls. Donut is desperate. Fuck. Oh my gosh. But yes. We love it. We love it. I forgot about this scene. Oh, thank you for the head pats, Sharp. Thank you. Hopefully you're liking the story. I know it's probably really confusing for you if you're listening to it. Cause like we're literally near the end of the story, so you're probably like, I don't know what the fuck's happening. You're loving it. I'm glad. Don't mind my like tail just wagging all happily, alright? It just does that, okay? It's not because I'm super happy, alright? Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and go on to chapter 38. We're about to see the consequences of pissing in the dungeon. Alright, here we go. The next several seconds seems to happen in slow motion. Wait, no, I respect the tail wags. Thank you. Oh my gosh, shut up, Lemus, whatever. The next several seconds seemed to happen in slow motion. Donut was the first to react. She jumped up, claws out, as if she meant to decapitate the elderly man. She pulled back at the last moment, instead pushing off his shoulder and sailing through the air, flying until she landed 3 platforms down. Yolanda also reacted, just a fraction of a moment behind Donut. She didn't pull her attack. An arrow sprouted from the side of Jack's skull, pinning the hat to his head. She'd been forced to shoot him, but it didn't matter. She'd reacted too late. The now dead man fell off the trailer into the ground, still pissing in death. The curved pea stain on the dungeon wall started to sizzle and boil. Smoke rose directly from the point of contact. I realized I was running toward the back of the train. Behind me, Brandon shouted. The safe room was only 100 feet away. Chris and Amani were already picking up speed. The second man on the last car, Randall, went flying off the train as it lurched forward. He hit the ground with a loud, painful crunch, his walker flying over his head just as the monster appeared. Holy fuck, I cried. Donut, run! I continued to sprint toward the thing. Purple and black smoke kept hissing and spitting from the wet stain on the wall. The monster coalesced, coming into existence 10 feet behind Yolanda and Randall, just above the prone form of the now dead Jack. Yolanda hit the monster with 2 arrows, and the shafts just shattered against the smoke. It didn't even form a health bar, indicating she'd done no damage whatsoever. The thing was 15 feet tall and just as wide, made of fulminating, sizzling black and purple smoke. It had 6 legs, each gleaming with obsidian claws the size of rakes. The claws seemed to be the only corporeal part of its body. The legs were all the same, but the 2 forward claws were longer, finger-like with extra joints. A flickering horned skull sat amongst a smoky mass, its eyes made of glowing red fire that poured smoke. It was a skull of some sort of animal, maybe a colossal badger, but with curved goat-like horns. It roared, and the ground shook. Rage Elemental, level 93. The first recorded summoning of a Rage Elemental. Blah, blah, blah. If you're reading this, you likely don't give a shit about the monster's rather interesting and tragic history. You're probably running. It's not going to matter. The almost indestructible Rage Elemental is said to only dissipate after it has claimed 666 souls. In other words, you're fucked. Absolutely bite the pillow fucked. A magic missile bounced off the monster's head, and its health bar appeared for a half-second before disappearing. It's self-healing. I came skidding to a stop as the train rocketed past me. Donut landed on my shoulder. She was screaming something about not running unless I ran too. Yolanda stood over the fallen form of Randall. The creature was still growing, the last of the black and purple mist twirling around it. Fog, I yelled. Donut, who had read my mind, activated her scroll of confusing fog at the same moment. The monstrosity finished forming just as the wall of fog billowed into the hallway. The creature fell to all 6 legs. The monster spun toward us, impossibly fast, its movements cleaving through the cloud like a boat cutting through waves. It ripped at the dead form of Jack, and the man's body shredded. It leaped forward, clawing at Yolanda and Randall. I never got to know Yolanda Martinez as much as I would have liked to, but I didn't have to know her very well to know who she was. I knew she was quiet, sweet woman who'd been a nurse her entire life. She'd worked 60 hours a week for years to pay for her son to go to college. Her husband had owned a landscaping company. At only 4 feet 11, the woman had a presence much bigger than her stature suggested. There was a warmth about her, something I'd never felt as a kid. Just being in her presence imparted a feeling of longing in me, something difficult to describe. Like I wished I could have relived my childhood, but this time, I'd have her as my mother, and she would never have left me. When the apocalypse came for Yolanda, she didn't once waver in her dedication to her patients. She was quick to laugh, quick to smile. And even though Yolanda Martinez was just as terrified as the rest of us, she stood her ground against the force she couldn't possibly hold back. She lived her entire life as a hero. She died as one too. One moment, they were there. The next, they were gone. Through the still developing cloud of confusing fog, the monster's claws ripped forward, cutting through the nurse and the elderly man as if they weren't even there. Yolanda's body disintegrated in a red cloud of ribbon-like flesh, like she was a knitted sweater that had been unraveled all at once. The monster didn't even break stride. It came for us despite the fog. It swung a mighty claw just as I smashed down on a protective shell. The monster flew back as if it was a charging dog that had reached the end of its leash. The transparent glowing semicircle shell spread around me, completely filling the section of the hallway, floor to ceiling. The raged elemental hissed and squealed with fury as it went flying back, skidding. It jumped up, charging again. Its badger head made it through the shield, but the moment its giant's claws touched the force field, it rebounded yet again. It seemed the sharp tips of the monster's claws couldn't make it through the protection. Holy shit, I cried. I hadn't expected that to work. Run! Donut leaped off my shoulder as I turned and rushed toward the others, who were struggling to get everyone into the safe room. The individual cars were too wide for the entrance. Amani and Chris were bodily pulling people off their chairs and tossing them into the open door. The round shield remained firmly in place, and I felt an odd pop in my ears as we left its area of effect. The spell was only going to last 20 seconds, and I'd already wasted 5 of them being dumbfounded. About halfway to the door, the ground disappeared underneath me. At least that's what I thought had happened at first. I fell, but I fell upward, crashing into the ceiling. A few feet in front of me, Donut flipped in midair, deftly landing upside down. In front of me, the very last train car flew upward, and the remaining resident, Miss McGibbons, cried out as she also slammed up into the top of the hallway, wheelchair crashing upon her like she'd been dumped face first down into a hole. My shoulder crunched, but I slammed a health potion before the pain could hit me. Gravity had been reversed. The elemental had cast the spell, but it hadn't reached all the way to the safe room door. The last platform, connected by Amani's magic chain, remained attached to the rest of the cars, and it dangled upward, having dislodged its only remaining rider. I didn't look back. I pulled myself to my feet and kept running, but now I was upside down, running on the ceiling of the hallway. We rushed toward the crumpled form of Miss McGibbons, who groaned and rolled onto her back, feebly pushing the wheelchair off herself. It rolled a few feet forward and reached the edge of the spell's effect. It clattered to the ground. She opened her eyes, and upon seeing that she was now stuck to the roof of the hallway, she started to cry out in fear. Her health was deep in the red. "I got you," I said, picking her up. I pulled her over my shoulder like a sack. Ahead of me, Chris and Amani were ushering the last of the residents into the room. I could see Brandon just inside the door, moving them out of the way. Amani was screaming Yolanda's name. Donut took a step toward the door, and she plummeted off the ceiling, also having reached the edge of the spell's effect. She once again landed easily. "Be careful, Carl," she called up to me. "Get the wheelchairs, then get inside," I cried as I pulled a health potion and shoved it into Miss Gibbons' hand. "Drink this." I anticipated where the line of gravity was, and I tried a desperate flip maneuver in an attempt not to be upside down when I fell. It didn't work. I shielded the crying woman's body as I landed, once again, in a painful heap on the ground, right next to the wooden platform. I groaned and smashed down on my own heal spell. Behind me, the rage elemental roared as the spell dissipated. It rocketed down the hall at us, claws raking up stones as it ran. It ran on its 4 back legs and reached forward with its 2 forward arms, which somehow made the beast seem even more horrifying. Shit! I scrambled to my feet. Donut hit it with another magic missile before turning and bolting toward the door. Chris and Amani pulled their last resident in. I ran. The ground shook as if a locomotive was bearing down on me. 10 feet. 5 feet. 1 foot. I jumped at the door, banging into the frame and ricocheting inside just as the monstrosity's forward claws swiped at me, missing by millimeters. It squealed in frustration, continuing its forward momentum as it slid down the hallway. I had a quick sense of deja vu, of the goblin murder dozer also missing me by inches. I handed Miss McGibbons to Brandon, pulled a boom jug, and returned to the hallway. I lit it and tossed it at the backside of the still churning elemental before I jumped back into the room and slammed the door. We could hear the monster scream through the thick walls. It made a sound that was part pain, part rage, part the end of the fucking world. I knew there was no way I could have really heard it, but I felt a wave of satisfaction at the horrific, penetrating sound. A moment later, the door pulsed, creaking worryingly at the elemental attempting to get in. It screamed and thrashed and pounded, throwing itself against the impenetrable door with all its might. "Jesus," I muttered, reaching down to grab my legs. I closed my eyes, unable to get the sight of Yolanda and Randall out of my head. "Jesus," I repeated out of breath. I turned to survey the room. We stood in what appeared to be a dusty, no way they passed the health inspection chicken restaurant. "Big Shot Chicken," the sign said. I'd never heard of it. A babka protector stood behind the counter, looking distastefully at the large crowd. Miss McGibbons hadn't taken the potions I'd given her, but she still clutched it in her hand. I watched as Brandon helped her drink it down. She continued to cry as her health rose. Most of the residents were on the ground, weeping for help. They'd been savagely tossed into the room. Amani, tears on her cheeks, was helping them one by one to the booth so they could sit and recover, administering healing potions to those who needed them. Donut had saved several wheelchairs, but there was no way we had enough now. Chris, his head low, turned to also help. Donut jumped to my shoulder, and her whole body was shaking. "Fucking Jack," Brandon said, growling the words. "He knew. We explained it to him." Zev's message echoed in my head. This was a mistake, helping these people. All we are doing is hindering our own training and delaying their inevitable death. It would have been kinder to have left them on the first floor rather than subject them to this terror. I looked up at the screens. Time to recap episode. 1 hour and 40 minutes. Time to level collapse. 4 days, 20 hours. Remaining crawlers, 1,033,992. "You saved me," Miss McGibbon said, sitting up on the floor. 99 years old. I didn't think I'd ever met, I don't think I'd ever met anyone that old before. Not a human, at least. Thank you. Thank you so much. I smiled weakly. Of course, I said. Jack was always an ass, she continued. She made a clucking noise. Poor Yolanda. She was such a good kid. And Randall. Dumb as a pigeon, that one. But he deserved better than that. At least it was quick. Do you think it's gonna leave? Donut asked. Behind me, the door continued to smash and rock under the onslaught of the screaming rage elemental. And that was the end of chapter 38. Big yikes, big yikes. Jack definitely knew what he was fucking doing. The asshole. I think, because if you remember in like the earlier chapters, I think we met Jack and he was kind of a very bitter old man. I think he was just done. I think he kind of like realized like, we're all old. We shouldn't be. I think he was just trying to end it all. But no, it was sad to see Yolanda go. It was sad to see Yolanda go. Yolanda was a good one. But I love, there's gonna be like more monologue type stuff like that from Carl later, but I love his like monologue style. Cause like, it's supposed to be like a very, it's a comedic book, but like, okay, all right. It's a comedic book, but there's like heavy undertones. Like obviously like, yes, they're stuck in a dungeon and you like at first you're like, oh, that'd be cool. Like, I'm not breaking my rules, but I'm just saying he's gonna be monologuing. Like I'm talking about his monologues. There's no like spoilers or anything that I said. But like, it's not a spoiler. I'm not spoiling anything. I'm just saying he's gonna be monologuing more. But no, but there is like, there's serious moments, obviously. Pulls out a baseball bat. Don't take my nice things away. I need those. Okay. I'll keep my mouth shut. We're gonna go on to chapter 39. All right, here we go. Oh, wait, which I think we only have, hold on, let me see how many chapters we have left. I think we have until chapter, oh, what chapter is this? Hold up. Let me see. I'm looking at the chapters. How many chapters we've got left. Let's see. 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47. We have 9 chapters left. We've got 9 chapters left, guys. We are literally so close to the end. So I'm gonna continue reading. If we end up getting so close to the end and we're like at our 2-hour mark, I think I'll just continue reading until we finish. So I'm gonna go ahead and continue reading. So hopefully maybe we can finish the book today, guys. Get the ending, yeah? All right, here we go. Chapter 39. Views 212 billion. Followers 4.4 billion. Favorites 793 million. Oh, how much left? Hold on. I just realized you got hit with ads, I'm sure. 9 chapters left. The recap episode started with a close-up shot of Jack's purple, veined, and uncircumcised dick, huge on the screen. I am so glad that was during an ad. I really didn't. I'm sure some of you heard it, but I'm glad I said that part during an ad. The headline screamed, "Trapped Meadowlark in the..." Oh, of course you did, Lemus, yeah. Trapped, oh my god, I can't, what the fuck am I reading? The headline screamed, "Trapped, Meadowlark in the royal court of Princess Donut in peril." Wow, Donut said, "Yours isn't nearly that big. Or oily looking. And it doesn't have that hat thing. If looks could kill, the glare Amani shot at the cat would have ripped her in two." "God damn it, Donut," I muttered, before realizing I'd said it. Not now. The screen showed in slow motion, Jack pulling it out, turning to the wall, and peeing. It switched to Yolanda's horrified face, then Donut leaping for him.
456 says, "Hydrate woman, thirsty."
I'm gonna take a drink of water. Oh my gosh, whatever. Here we go. The screen showed in slow motion, Jack pulling it out, turning to the wall and peeing. It switched to Yolanda's horrified face, then Donut leaping for him, claws out. It showed the arrow piercing him right in the temple. The player-killer skull icon slowly starting to form over Yolanda's head, and then the man falling from the platform. I can't watch this, Amani said, getting up and turning away. See what happens next appeared on the screen. Then the show started. As promised, it was a compilation of people getting surprised by bosses leaving their rooms. I noted 2 different scenes with Krikaren bosses. The shots keep coming and coming of people being slaughtered. Welcome back from Ad Jail Sharp. We just started the chapter, so you didn't miss much. I eased back in the chair and took a bite of fried chicken. A part of me registered that the food was downright delicious, but I could barely taste it. Donut sat at the table, being lovingly groomed with her new brush by the babka protector. The Constitution buff had activated many minutes earlier, but she demanded he'd keep brushing. This safe room, like the first one we'd visited, had 20 rooms for rent. They were still free on the 2nd level. People slept in all 20 of them. Outside, the Reg Elemental continued to scream and smash at the door. It hadn't let up. Not for 1 second. The thing seemed to have an endless supply of energy. I already had a plan on how to deal with it. I discussed it over chat with Donut. I'd have to wait at least a full Syndicate standard day, another 28 hours, before we'd be able to do it. That was how long the cooldown for my protective shell spell was. The problem was, this plan required us to abandon Team Meadowlark. Not just the elderly folk. All of them. I sighed, unable to concentrate on the show. Zev disappeared off the chat after the skirmish in the hallway. Donut, who'd apparently been chatting with her nonstop, was worried about the Kuatin. I didn't care. I was dreading our obligation to go on this talk show. We'd have to go on the show before we left here. A wave of grubs descended upon us. I didn't know what was going to happen once they reached the hall with the Rage Elemental. I was hoping perhaps they'd distract the creature, cause it to wander off. I suspect we wouldn't get that lucky, but I had hope. Looking at the map, I guess we'd find out just as the show ended. Donut and I both received a pair of achievements after our fight with the Rage Elemental. New achievement. What goes up? You have been stuck with and survived the dreaded reverse gravity spell. Well, you fared better than Albert II, the first Earth mammal to reach space alive. He was a rhesus monkey, in case you're wondering. He went up just fine. He didn't stick the landing. Reward. You can now tell people you're more durable than a monkey named Albert. New achievement. Like a moth to the flame. You attacked and caused damage to a mob that is more than 75 levels above your own. The fact that you're reading this suggests you're the luckiest fucker in the dungeon. Just remember, luck goes both ways. Like your mom. Reward. You've received a Platinum Lucky Bastard box. Both of us received a similar item in the Platinum box. It was a lottery scratch-off ticket. Just like any scratcher ticket one could buy at a gas station or a liquor store. The tickets themselves were different. Donuts was red and green and had a small graphic of a troll-like creature throwing gold coins in the air. It was called Dungeon Gold Rush. She had 6 spots to scratch off. She immediately moved to scratch it, but received an error message telling her she couldn't use the ticket in a safe room. I made her hand it over so I could read the description. Dungeon Gold Rush. Scratch off 1 spot, and depending on the symbol revealed, your next attack against the mob will have varying effects. Guaranteed laughs. 1 hour cooldown between scratches. I flipped the little cardboard ticket over, and it revealed about 20 different symbols. Most of the results were good, like mob drops 5,000 coins, or damage against mob is doubled, but a few of the symbols offered some not-so-good choices, like mob splits in 2, or mob is invulnerable for 30 seconds. Yeah, don't use this, I said. Not until we talk about it some. The last thing we need is you scratching off a symbol that'll quadruple the next mob's strength. The cat sighed. Or I can scratch off a symbol that will get 5,000 coins, Carl. Why must you always be so pessimistic? Donut, like I said, luck goes both ways. We'll talk about it later. Fine, she said. I placed the ticket in front of her, and she huffed as it disappeared into her inventory. What does yours do? My ticket was the same size, but it only had 5 spots to scratch off. It was red on one side and pink on the other. A small cartoon dragon sat in the corner holding a spoon. The dragon's tongue was out, licking its lips. I read the description. Fireball or custard. Scratch off a spot in the midst of battle, and the zany ticket casts a spell at the closest red-tagged mob. Each spot has a 50-50 chance. Will it cast a level 15 fireball, or will it cast a glob of delicious healing strawberry custard? Who knows? Either way, the results will be a hoot. 30-minute cooldown between scratches. I love custard, Donut cried after I showed her the ticket. She looked up at the babka protector, whose name was Quist. Get me custard. Yes, Princess. Right away, Princess. What flavor? The Bobcat asked. Donut had finished the custard by the time the show premiered. She'd chosen strawberry, turned her nose up at it, and gone with vanilla. We watched now as the disaster porno half of the show ended, and the next part started. It was nothing new. The African warriors had finally run out of ammo. Several were using their AK-47s as clubs, but a few now had bows and arrows or swords. Lucia Marr was tearing her way through the dungeon. She had 4 killer skulls by her name now, but they didn't show why or how that had happened. Interestingly, I noticed for the first time that neither of her Rottweilers had any skulls or stars by their names. It was because they were pets, I realized. Donut had originally been listed as a pet, but she transformed into a crawler early on. Weird. The crossbow-firing Valkyrie woman and her ever-growing crowd of female warriors were also killing their way through the dungeon. They named their group the Brynhild's Daughters. The woman's name was Hekla, and the announcer gave a short history of her home country of Iceland. The AI was throwing loot at her to emphasize the Nordic shield maiden persona she was forming, including a ridiculous glittering breastplate that seemed more apt for the cover of a harem fantasy novel than appropriate dungeon armor. She's amazing, Donut whispered. We should hook up with her group. Something tells me I wouldn't be too welcome, I said. The show ended with a short description of the issues with the bathrooms and some bullshit explanation why they had been forced to implement the rage elemental trap. Yeah, because piss is worse than blood and guts and whatever that is that comes out of the grubs, I said. It replayed the scene from the beginning of the episode, with Jack whipping it out. It continued showing Alana's death in gruesome slow-motion detail. It showed me flying up to the ceiling, then hopping to my feet and running upside down, Matrix style. Then me picking Miss Gibbons up and making it into the room with a millisecond to spare. I jumped out of the room, brandishing the boom jug. The show paused, showing the recipe of the Carl's Jug-O-Boom. My mugshot appeared briefly with the added to the dungeon codex stamped over it. The scene resumed, showing me tossing the jug at the back of the monster before slamming the door. Its health plummeted almost 25%. The 6-legged black badger scolding screamed, momentarily stunned by the attack. It took a good 10 seconds before it recovered, jumping up and resuming its attack against the door. It shrieked in ear-splitting fury as it healed itself. The healing moved much more slowly, I noted, thanks to the napalm-like effect of the boom jug. It ended with Donut saying, "Do you think it's gonna leave?" The show snapped off, and nobody said anything. He really did have a weird-looking dick, Chris said after a moment. Amani walked up to him, wrapped her arms against the large man, and started laughing and crying at the same time. Hello, crawlers. Short message today. The dungeon is humming along nicely. Thanks again for your support. We have a lot of interest already in the new patron bidding program, so please keep up the good work. We have a few changes to announce. If you've watched the recap episode that just aired, you can see our penalties regarding the bathrooms have been a rousing success. The penalties will remain in place for the remainder of this floor, but I'm happy to announce they will be removed upon the collapse of this floor. Thank you, everyone, for your cooperation. The Satan's Little Hedgehogs mobs has been removed and placed on a deeper floor. Their armor-piercing quill attacks has been deemed too strong for this floor by the system AI. Apologies to those affected. We've had a few complaints about the proliferation of the grub mobs. This is not a bug and is by design. Finally, due to the abundance of crawlers camping in safe rooms upon the collapse of the first floor, we've been forced to make a difficult decision. From now on, all safe rooms and safe areas will close 1 hour prior to the floor collapse. Any crawler who is in a designated safe area will be teleported to just outside the area 1 hour prior. As always, kill, kill, kill. On the message board, a new timer appeared, just below the time to level collapse timer. Time to safe room closure. It was 1 hour faster than the level timer. I met eyes with Brandon, who looked stricken. At that moment, I knew he'd been thinking the same thing as me, that it was time to just give up. Donut, our views, Carl, our views! Outside, the door stopped bashing itself in. It was oddly quiet. I looked up at the mini-map. The mass of grubs had reached the hallway, and the elemental finally noticed them. It left the door and tore through them as I watched. It followed the line of red dots around the corner and disappeared down the hallway. I had a moment to think, shit, we should have been ready to run, but it was over in less than a minute. The thousands of red dots were just gone. The description stated the elemental dissipated after it claimed 666 souls, whatever that meant. I was hoping that the grubs counted toward that number. They didn't. The elemental returned to the door, thrashing and smashing, trying to get back in. If we had run, it would have followed us. Even if we'd used the chopper, there was no way we'd have gone away. Not unless we'd split up and gone in a different direction. And even then, it probably would have gotten us. The map seemed to flicker for a moment, and a long line of X's appeared where the grubs had all died. Already more red dots appeared, moving toward their fallen brothers and sisters. Brothers and sisters. Why did I say brethrens? The fuck? On the map near the stairs, just a quarter-mile away, a group of 15 red dots sat. I didn't notice them before. I hovered over the icons. Grub. Pupa stage. A counter, currently at just under 10 hours, was ticking away next to their names. I remembered the scene from the recap episode. The level 93 mob, after sliding down the hall, had been hurt by my boom jug. It had taken almost a quarter of its life away before it healed itself. Then I remembered something else. It was something Rory, the shamanka, the one with all the piercings on her face, had told us. I hadn't thought much about it at the time. I looked down at Donut. I know it's like a fancy way of saying it, but I don't know why I said it, because it literally says fallen brothers and sisters, not fallen brethren and sisters. But whatever. Carl, the plan has changed. We can't wait for my shield to cool down. Come on, Donut, I said out loud, pushing the table away in the corner of the restaurant. We were going to need a lot of space. What are you doing? Brendan asked, standing from his table. I pulled a bunch of items from my inventory, piling them on the floor. The round, free weights clanged loudly as they hit the tiles. I need your help, I said. Yes, the plan did change, the change of plans. And that was it for chapter 39. Now we're in chapter 40, and we have 8 chapters left now? 9 chapters? I think it's 9 chapters. Wait. I have to double check now. I think it was 9 chapters or 8 chapters left. We have, what is it? Where is it? Yeah, we have 8 chapters left. Now we have 8 chapters left. Did I make the background? Oh, are you talking about in like the slide, or like the background of like behind my body? Which one are you talking about? Behind, yes, I did. I did make it. Yes. It's like, it looks a lot clearer if I get like, hold on. Let me get rid of, where is it? There we go. See, I have my door in the background and the clocks all around. It's based off of the painting, the clock painting, the melting clock painting a little bit, but then I added like my own personal like touch and lore into it, and I was like, yeah, we're gonna do the golden sea, we got the lighthouse in the background, and then we got our melting clocks, you know? But yeah, yes. And then I have eyes kind of hidden in there too. You can kind of see them. Thank you, Lemus. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you. All right, we're going on to the next chapter, chapter 40. Let's see. We got like half an hour left. All right, let's see how far we can get. We still had some cans of Agatha spray paints, and I painted Mother of All Bombs on the side of the contraption. It took us about 5 hours to finish building the launcher. Brandon pointed out that MOAB actually stood for Massive Ordnance Air Blasts, but his brother said, don't be that guy. It doesn't matter. Matter? What? What's the matter, baby? Sorry. It doesn't matter, Brandon said. The name is still wrong. When they say Mother of All Bombs, they mean one giant bomb, not whatever this thing is. You should call it the Bomb Chicken or something. It's too late, I said, indicating the spray paint. I've already named it. Besides, I like the name. It's a play on words. Well, I'm going to call it the Bomb Chicken, whether you like it or not, Brandon declared. I discovered something interesting while building the device. This should have been obvious earlier, but it hadn't even occurred to me. In the safe room, all of my sticks of dynamite were harmless. I could pull them out, and under status they had inert while in safe room, followed by a parenthesis starting their real status. Their status still ticked down while being handled, and I didn't want to tempt fate enough to find out what would happen when their status reached 0, but I was relatively certain they wouldn't blow. Brandon stepped back now, admiring our work. Do you really think this is going to kill it? He said. He asked, suddenly serious. Not a chance, I said. That thing is level 93. It ain't going to like this too much, but there's no way it'll be enough. The babies will slow it down, though. Brandon gave me a sour look. If it's not going to kill it, then why are we doing this? It's all part of the plan, I said. Wait, what exactly is the plan? He asked. He waved at my contraption. I thought this was the plan. Like I said, it's part of it, but it's not all of it. I can't tell you the rest, I said, pointing up at the ceiling, which had become the universal gesture for the assholes are listening. Since this scheme involved using a dungeon exploit, I wanted to keep it in my head. Even Donut didn't know the full extent. Mordecai told us that the viewers wouldn't see our private chats, but Bora and the dungeon AI could. I didn't want to risk them changing the rules on us at the last second, because that would really suck. Not that I'd live long enough to complain about it. We needed to get safely into the hallway, so the first component of this insane scheme was also one of the most terrifying parts. My first suggestion was to wait for the grubs to regroup and get close enough for the rage elemental to go hunting them again. But the grubs were painfully slow, and more of them were hitting the pupa stage, meaning they were no longer moving around. Amani came up with a bold solution. Why don't we just open the damn door, she said. This was hours ago, right when we started building the MOAB. We all looked at each other. I immediately grasped what she was saying. The idea was horrifying, but she was right. We were in a safe room. Mobs would teleport away. Not far away, according to Mordecai, but they would still be ejected. Well, shit, I said, putting down my goblin riveter. Maybe we don't need to build this thing at all. So we tested it. We moved everyone to the other side of the restaurant, near the entrance to the sleeping chambers. I didn't know what was trembling more, me or the door. If we were wrong about this, I walked up, and I hesitantly reached for the exit. The moment I turned the handle, the door burst inward, and a giant claw raked at me, coming at my face as I flew back into the room. Boom! The sound of the monster teleporting away was odd, like that of an electrical generator turning on. Holy crap! That worked! I said, sitting up. My eyes searched the map, looking for it. I didn't see it anywhere. But a moment later, my relief turned to dread as I saw the dot rocketing toward us. It had come from the main hallway. Shit, it's really booking it. It remembers where we are. Keep the door open, Amani said. See if the dungeon sends it further away this time. Or if it learns. It was maybe 90 seconds before it entered our hallway again. It killed any grubs it passed, but it seemed to ignore the ones in the pupa stage. It roared and shrieked, came to the door, and once again tried to swipe at me. Again, it teleported away. This time it came from another hallway down, but appeared to have still been teleported out into the main hallway. We tried it several times. Each time, the elemental took anywhere from 75 to 120 seconds to return. It was clear the monster was unintelligent, nothing more than the single-minded embodiment of rage. We eventually closed the door, not wanting to create any more grub corpses. I sighed, going back to work on the MOAB. Now, hours later, it was finally time to put my idea to the test. I was less confident about this than I was with the whole portable fortress idea. That time I knew we faced a mob meant to be killed. This was different. This was something meant as a punitive action, a punishment. It wasn't meant to be fair, to be survivable. The chopper hummed merrily away, aimed directly at the exit to the chamber. With Donut's sidecar, it was too big to get through the door. We'd been forced to remove it. Instead, we added the newly built bike trailer, affixing the tall MOAB to it and adding the equally tall seat for Donut behind the launcher. She'd have to duck in order for us to leave the room. She sat there now, facing backwards, a look of grim determination on her fuzzy face, like a tail gunner in a World War II bomber. I think I like bomb chicken better too, Donut announced. Too late, I said. I nodded at Mani, who stood at the door, ready to pull it open. Okay, she said. I'll count down from 3. Donut, everyone in the universe is watching this. I just hit 1 trillion views, Carl. 1 trillion. Focus, Donut, I said, not bothering to use the chat. 1. Amani yanked the door open. The massive, terrifying rage elemental lunged, and as always, teleported away. The space where it had occupied shimmered, crackling like superheated air. I pushed hard on the pedals of the bike, and we rushed into the hallway. Everything out here was blackened and turned to ash. It smelled like burning garbage, reminding me of the hoarder's chamber. There was no sign of the train cars or the remaining wheelchairs and walkers that had been abandoned. The only thing that had survived was the 300-foot-long length of glittering magical chain which I had grabbed earlier. Behind me, Amani slammed the door. I pedaled down the hall, turning the throttle. The trailer was built using broken hunks of wood and the spare chopper wheels we'd looted from the goblins. I could barely feel its weight. It squeaked loudly, but it didn't bounce under the press of the MOAB. We passed the nearby intersection and furiously increased speed until we reached the next one down. Another 200 meters away, we angled ourselves as we faced this new hallway, and we waited. "Here it comes," Donut said a moment later. The dot appeared, and the elemental rushed down the distant hall, moving like an earth-destroying meteor sent from the heavens. "As soon as it rounds the curve, we go," I said. We had to make sure it saw us. If it stopped at the door again, we'd have to loop around to gain its attention. Using the closer hallway, I didn't want to do that. The fewer corners we had to take with this trailer, the better. Far down the hallway, a little more than a quarter of a mile away, it appeared, running full tilt. I didn't have to worry about whether or not it was going to see us. It saw. The horned badger skull skidded to a stop, looking in our direction. It shrieked with indignation and resumed its gallop, headed straight at us. Holy shit, that thing's fast. I pumped my legs. "Go! Go!" Donut cried. Thanks to my chopper pilot skill and the help of the throttle, we could reach top speed in seconds. It still felt as if we weren't moving at all. The bike could go about 25 miles per hour before it got too hot. The elemental was like a cheetah. Unimpeded, it would run us down in seconds. We hurled down the hallway. "Fire the first baby," I cried. Brandon was correct that the title MOAB was misleading. The apparatus wasn't a bomb at all, but a device designed to launch bombs. Multiple types of bombs. "It's the bomb's mother," I'd said. "Get it? And we can name the bombs its babies." None of them had been impressed. You need to stick to punching things and blowing them up," Donut had said. "Leave the creative to me." The device wasn't complicated, but it had to be precisely built, especially here with the bumpy hallways. It was a little more than a curved ski jump-like ramp made from a pair of spare part chopper wheel wells, with a pair of half-pipe channels at the end to keep the baby steady, and tiny shock-absorbing front wheeler coasters for the very end of the ramp, keeping the end of the conduit inches from the ground. As a kid, I'd had something similar for my Matchbox cars. You dropped the cars into the top, and gravity took care of the rest. They plummeted down the waterslide-like ramp, gaining speed, hitting the ground at full throttle. If you built the ramp correctly, especially the part at the end, the cars would ease into the flat surface, still accelerating by the time they were halfway across the room. It had taken us several hours to get this correct. We had very little space to test this in, but thanks to the know-how from Brandon and Chris, I was confident that the babies would work as intended. I just lost my spot. There it is. We knew this monster had at least 2 attacks, the claws and the reverse gravity spell. We also knew that the gravity spell had a somewhat limited range, so in order to get to our destination, we needed to keep the elemental far away long enough to get there. "Bombs away," Donut cried. She pulled the wheel, back-heavy bomb from her inventory. It fit perfectly into the grooves, and she gave it a nudge. It rocketed down the ramp, hit the ground with a bump, and continued straight. From my perspective, it zoomed away. It didn't rear up like I had feared. "Brandon, you beautiful son of a bitch," I yelled as I watched the first bomb roll away over my shoulder. I'd wanted to put the weight in the front, but Brandon had insisted that was a mistake, that the bombs would flip. Instead, he'd drawn with his fingers on the table, explaining how to weigh them down. He'd then gone off on some Isaac Newton math bullshit. He'd said the babies wouldn't go as far back as they would have if I'd been sitting still. He talked about some Mythbusters episode where they shot a soccer ball out of the back of a moving car, and the ball had dropped straight to the ground. I told him I didn't care as long as the bombs were far from the chopper when they went off. After several frustrating failed attempts to automate the launching process, we'd come up with a solution. Once Donut was seated at the correct height, she could pull the babies out of her inventory, and they'd emerge right on the platform. Each bomb was the size of a snowboard, but it was shaped and weighted like a champion pine wood derby car. Wheels had suddenly become a precious commodity, but we had something almost as good: free weights. A lot of free weights of different sizes. When tightened and greased properly, they became very effective wheels. The first baby, Baby Uno, was different than the others. It was heavier and bigger. It contained 3 boom jugs, a clay jug filled with nothing but goblin oil, and a small jar of gunpowder. The last of my hobgoblin puss sat in the middle of the bomb, and I held the magical trigger into my hand now, waiting for Donut's signal. We had 4 types of babies: Baby Uno, Boom Jar babies, Shredder babies, and finally, Oh Shit babies. The Oh Shit babies consisted of 2 boom jars with a full-size gunpowder satchel wrapped in dynamite. Those remained in my own inventory, too dangerous for Donut to touch. They were a last resort, and I pray we wouldn't have to use them here. I watched the red dot stream down the hallway, approaching the corner. Far behind us, the heavy bomb coasted to a stop. "Hang on," I cried, and I jammed on the detonator. There was a maddening 5-second delay. I turned my attention forward. Oh, fuck. We hit the first intersection, filled with the grub pupae, a dozen of them. "What the hell, man?" I cried, dodging the giant mounds. I wasn't expecting them to be this damn big. Donut cried out as the trailer bumped ominously. Each mound was about the size of a human standing erect. Red and yellow lights flashed underneath the wet, pulsating sacks. "Drop the bola," I yelled. We had 2 levers next to Donut's chair, the red one and the black one. We originally designed these as bomb launchers before we gave up, deciding to just use the more stable inventory system. But we'd still built 2 chambers on either side of the MOAB. Donut pulled the black lever, and the bottom of the chamber slid away. Amani's chain, with heavy weights at either end, dropped away, snaking through the chamber. The monster, hopefully, would get its legs tangled in the then unbreakable link. It probably would only impede it for a second or two, but every second counted. Behind us, the bomb detonated with a ripping, screaming roar. Dust cascaded off the ceiling. It had blown a half-second too late, hitting the monster in the back. I didn't dare look behind me, but I could see on the map it had propelled the monster halfway down the hall, even closer to us. The red dot of the elemental rolled to a stop. Drop the boom babies," I cried. The next hall was filled with grubs, mostly level 3s, which I hadn't yet fought. They were larger, about twice as big as the regular grubs. They had long, pointed tails that they whipped ineffectively up at us as we passed. The level 3s were too big to just run over with a chopper, and I had to dodge them. Cow-tailed brindle grub, level 3, the final form before they hit the pupa stage. The cow-tailed brindle grub is finally able to defend itself, kind of like the way a toddler holding a plastic baseball bat is able to defend himself. "The cars are going to hit the grubs," Donut cried. "They're in the way." "Do it anyway," I yelled, increasing the speed. Below me, the chopper became dangerously hot. "Bombs away," Donut cried. I heard the distinctive clack of the bomb's wheels locking in place. The torch sizzled as Donut activated it, and it rolled away down the launcher ramp. Sure enough, the wheeled bomb hit a group of grubs and flipped, crashing and then detonating. A wave of heat washed over me, but I didn't take any damage. We were going fast enough. Barely. The entire hallway lit with blue flames. "Yes!" Donut cried. "Burn, baby, burn!" Farther behind, the elemental resumed its pursuit. It stopped yet again a moment later. It'd been ensnared by the chain. The monster roared in anger, shaking the very foundation of the world. "Away," Donut called, dropping another boom baby. Then another. Then a third. We continued to carpet bomb the hallway behind us. If the jugs didn't ignite on their own, Donut hit them with a low-powered magic missile once we were far away enough. She only had to do that a couple times. Most of the cars hit grubs and flipped. "Whoa," Donut yelled. The whole back of the trailer flew up into the air, almost knocking me from my seat, but it crashed down a moment later. A just-launched boom baby flew into the ceiling and exploded. The elemental had cast its spell, but we'd been too far away. Behind us, the top of the chamber erupted in flames. My head and back burned, and I took a small amount of damage. Donut cried out in pain. She healed herself a moment later with her spell. "Hold on," I cried. We were almost there, but I had a sharp left coming up. I could see this hallway was filled with more of the pupae. Like we talked about, drop a shredder, wait a second, then do another boom. We screeched around the corner, the trailer skidding. I had to jerk around a set of pupae rising from stalagmites. We'd only made a few of the gunpowder babies, but I'd made them for this part of the stretch. I had no idea if this would work, but I figured it couldn't hurt. Donut released the gunpowder and the shrapnel-filled bomb. The shredders, for these, we used a long length of wick. I had to light wicks using a lighter, but thanks to Donut's quadruped status, the system allowed her to light them the same way she lit torches, with a mental click. She launched the massive shrapnel grenade. The long wick trailed sparks like the tail of a rat. The baby crashed into one of the pupa mounds and fell on its side. A moment later, it blew, ripping the pupa to shreds. I hazarded a glance over my shoulder, just long enough to see several human-sized hornet-like creatures vomit out of the sacks. The uncooked monsters hit the ground and started convulsing. I was hoping if I entered the chrysalis sacks, the monsters would come out, and the elemental would waste a valuable second or two ripping them to shreds. We filled the last stretch of the hallway with moonshine and fire. The elemental seemed to be moving more cautiously, but it continued to follow. Ahead, the stairwell materialized. Warning appeared, blinking ominously just below the handlebars. Goblin copper chopper, boiler breach imminent. God damn it, I growled. I pushed it too hard. We had 15 seconds. I tried to remember which of the valves to turn to release the pressure. I couldn't. Fuck it, I said, increasing the speed. I thought we were going to the other safe room, Donut cried. We're not going down the stairs, are we? We entered the large round room. The stairwell loomed before us, a hole in the ground with the bright light shining directly up into the air. All around us, pupae pulsed, most of them ringing the walls. There were dozens of them now. All had timers over their heads, some of them only a few hours. The actual stairs faced the wrong direction, but that was okay. There was no railing or barrier. This was nothing but a hole in the ground, as wide as one of the tunnels, just like it had been on the surface. Oil slick, then jump, I cried. Jump? Are you crazy? God damn it, Donut, do it. She pulled the red lever and the bottom of the second chamber fell away. Champagne-colored oil sprayed onto the floor. Jump, I cried. Donut and I both leaped from the fast-moving vehicle. It continued its forward trajectory, spilling oil onto the rocky ground, plummeting into the deep stairwell hole. The chopper disappeared from view. It crunched, followed by a relatively small explosion. Black smoke billowed into the air. What did you do that for? Donut yelled as we both scrambled to our feet. Get your puddle jumper spell ready, I said. I pointed behind us at the far end of the distant hallway, the opposite direction we'd come. Mordecai's guild room was just around the corner from there. Send us there. Cast it when I tell you. Okay, she said, her voice filled with uncertainty. Don't forget, it's 10 seconds. The elemental had indeed stopped to eviscerate the hornet creatures in the hall, giving me just enough time to think about how much of a crazy asshole I was. The stairs are right there. We can just go down and be safe. If this doesn't work, you are dead. I stood right at the edge of the hole. Cast now, I cried. Why not, I thought, and I pulled one of the oh shit babies from my inventory and gently placed it down on the ground in front of us. It sat there like a giant skateboard. 2 boom jars, gunpowder, and a ring of dynamite. 9 seconds. It's coming, Donut screamed, her voice more terrified than I ever heard. She leaped to my shoulder. 8 seconds. In front of us, the rage elemental emerged from the billowing smoke of the hall. It was a beast from hell, huge, terrifying. A length of chain was still attached to its back leg. To my surprise, the monster's health was in the red, barely in the red, but had been more hurt than I expected. It saw us, and it paused. 5 seconds. It bellowed long and hard. I looked up for the first time, and I realized the ceiling of this chamber, like the burrow boss room on the floor above, was very high. If it cast reverse gravity now... 3 seconds. It charged. 2 seconds. Stay with me, I said. It passed the threshold of the room, and the moment its 6 legs hit the ground, it started to slide on the oil slick. It barely seemed to notice. It roared as it rocketed toward us, forward fingers ready to slash. I remember what it did to Yolanda, unraveling her. We disappeared, reappearing about 500 feet away, down the hall. A horrific, indignant shriek filled the dungeon, followed by the distinctive whoosh of a big-ass explosion. I hit the ground and covered Donut, but it was okay. The bomb was deep in the hole when it went off, and we were far away. A moment passed. I watched the mini-map, looking for signs that the monster had survived. The dot was gone. Absolute silence followed. My stomach heaved, an after effect of the sudden teleportation. Relief washed over me. I sat down right there on the floor. My heart, which had been oddly calm throughout, was now a jackhammer. My arms felt numb, tingling with the overdose of adrenaline, my entire body trembling. A moment later, Donut cried in outrage. We didn't get any experience! Carl, you broke the game! We didn't get any experience because we're not the ones who killed it. What? Donut said. I don't understand. I remembered what Rory the Goblin Shamanka had told us. It had only been a few days ago, but it felt like a lifetime. If we climb down the stairs, we die. You get halfway down and your body just dissolves. I've seen it myself. Mordecai had said something similar once, too. Mobs who dared to attempt to descend didn't teleport away. They died. We tricked the monster into the hole. Once it was in there, the dungeon followed its own rules, and it dissolved the elemental. Unfortunately, the system didn't look too kindly on what we'd done. We hadn't been rewarded experience for the kill. I'd received a couple achievements, but not many. But that was okay. We were still alive. I took in the mass of red grub dots and X's littering the map. I felt as if I'd been awake for 2 days straight. I groaned, pulling myself to my feet. We still had a lot of work to do. Carl, Brandon, get your people to the stairs. Do it now. The way is safe, but it won't be for long. And that was the end of chapter 40. Woo! We're so close to the end, guys. That was a very intense chapter. A very intense chase scene. And you have to think, like, despite reading it and it being like almost 30, like a 30-minute chapter, that all happened with like in a span of like probably like 20-30 minutes itself. Like it like, cause well, not even then, it probably was like 15 minutes at most, cause they were trying to run and the monster is super, super fast, like takes seconds to reach them. So really it happened so fast. And I love like the fight scenes in this book. They're just great. They like keep me so hooked into it. But we are almost at our 2-hour mark. And I will say we have we have what? 7 chapters left now. And honestly, it doesn't look like that much, but they're pretty like hefty chapters. So I think we'll do like one more stream of Dungeon Crawler Carl and then we'll be completed with the book. But for now, I'm going to call it here. We're going to end it at chapter 41. And we'll... Quick Minecraft tour. I haven't done too much extra. I can do a quick Minecraft tour real quick. I'll never say no to that. Hold up. Hold on. I'll do a quick Minecraft tour. Hold up. Give me 1 minute. Let me open up Minecraft for you. We'll do that real quick before we go find someone else to raid. Just a little quick look at our Minecraft world. Oh, my dog's looking at me. My baby. Hi, Bubba. What's up, bug? Oh, he's smiling at me. Oh, it's a handsome boy. It's a handsome boy. Alright. Getting into the world now. Give me a couple minutes. Na 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 na. I can't remember, what did I show you guys all last time that I got done? I think I probably actually have gotten a lot done since the last time I showed you. Hold up. Let me see here. Play. Let me go over to the gaming. Game capture. This one. Let's see, is it gonna show up? Ah, it did, sweet. Let me adjust the size just a little bit. There we go. Doesn't perfectly fit, but it's fine. Tis whatever. Oh, I'm stretching. Alright. So I did, also I got I rehydrated my ghast and now he's all grown up. We named him Helium. The name is courtesy of Cinti. He named our ghast Helium. It was a cute name. I was like, yes, because it's like a blimp. But anyway, I've got some of this done. Some more entrance. Did some detailing in the entrance. And yes... Oh, you were gonna name it? So sorry. Yes, I do realize that it's not quite equal on both sides, but I'm trying my very hardest just to ignore that. So it's fine. It's fine. It's whatever. I don't care. But then I did get some, I started putting in the windows. So we have our yellow windows, our gold windows. And all of our wheat grew in, so I'm very happy about that. And then I started working on the more floors for the clock tower part. And then I started working on the bridges over here. I also filled in this part. But I started working on the bridge. And I got some of these, I started getting the rooms done. Here. Okay, perfect. We got the stairs done down here. So over here, down here, I'm debating on whether I want to do like kind of like a split floor thing going on here, you know? So like we have the low floor and then you can have like up higher maybe. I don't know, I just think it would make it look more detailed. Even though it's kind of useless having them here, but... Have you tried brick slabs deep slate to make it pop out more? I have not. I thought about playing with it a couple times just to see, but on the, oh, right here, like, change these to like bricks instead. Is that what you're talking about? These ones? On top? What do you mean? On the wheat area on top. Are you talking about those, like up there? Place it on top of the deep slate? Oh, you mean like put slabs on here? Like on here to make it like... Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, oh, actually that would look pretty good, actually. I think I kind of like that idea. Like, hold on. Let's put this in here. So do like... Oh, should we do like tile slabs? That might look good. Let's try, should we try tile slabs? I think tile slabs would be good. Oh yeah, I kind of like these. These kind of look good. Like that. I like that. That looks good. Let me go sleep real quick. I like it better than seeing cobblestone. It's not cobblestone, it's deep slate stone. But this does look nice. I like that actually. Should I feel like I should place one right here. Should I place one right there? I feel like I should place one right there. Yeah, it's deep slate cobblestone. Plus it kind of creates like a nice little like barrier too, which is nice. I like that. This is good. I like this. This. Do. Oh yeah, there we go. Perfect. Nice, nice. Yeah, this is a good idea. I like this. I know, yeah, it'd be nice if there was shaders, I will say. Can I like do my own? Can I like, oh, I already ran out? Oh. Can I do my own? Like download my own shaders and use them, or no? Would it not let me? Because I would kill for some shaders to make it look pretty. Because I could just imagine this at night with the firefly bushes. Oh, it'd be gorgeous. I have to edit the world. Do. Move, you little shits. Move out of the way. Go. Move. Go. Move out of the way. Go. 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 Out of the way. Ha. There we go. I have to come up with names for them. My copper goblins. My copper goblet. Oh, I gotta move this. There we go. Do. Oh shit, those are in the way. I'll just, when I move all that stuff, I'll put some there. But for now, we'll just leave it as is. Oh shit, not what I wanted to do. Oh yeah, look at that. That looks nice. I like that. Look at that. You have to talk to the admin of the server to allow it. This, oh yeah, I like this. This makes it look very good. Very nice indeed. I don't know why the redeem thing didn't work. Oh, name the copper golem neat freak. What should I name the other one? I have two copper golems. Or should it be neat and freak? Neat freak. And then I have my little bird too. I haven't named the bird yet. Let's see. yeah. But yeah, so what I'm planning on doing in these areas, because they're like they're kind of like the guest wings. So upstairs are going to be like the beds with the chests. And then I'm going to have down here like a bunch of like furnaces, blast furnaces, some anvils, maybe an enchanting table, stuff like that. So like people could just come in if they need to use them. You know? Let me look at my stuff. I have so much shit. Destroyer of Worlds. Okay, I'll name it Destroyer of Worlds just for you. We're gonna put that away, this away, don't need that, put that away, don't need that. This. Oh, we need that actually. Put all these away. I'm trying to clear out my inventory. Why is it doing that? Okay, weird. Do that. Oh, give me 1 minute. It does look weird. It does look weird. I have this here. I didn't break my diamond one. I went into the nether and I needed gold. So I just took those and put them on. Let me see. Actually, can I make... Okay, no I can't. Alright, let me go put this away. I need to eat food. I just realized I was like, why can't I run? Let's see, let's throw, oh, stop bitch. Offline enchanting grinding. Yeah, so I do have like I made a bunch of enchanted books. But I'm trying to wait till I get like netherite to like enchant my stuff really. I've enchanted like all this stuff and whatnot. Like all that. But I want to like wait to get like really good enchantments for what was I saying? I blanked. For when I have netherite. Also, I have I've updated my to-do list. So I have long-term to do now. And then I have my short-term to do. We did find an ancient city. We found one ancient city. And we've already like raided it. Like it's pretty much good now, but I need to fit. Oh, I remember what I was doing. I was gonna make some more pickaxes, some stone pickaxes. Where's all my wood at? Where's all my wood? Oh, let me lighten up our little guys real quick. Boop. Alright, let me go and put this back in here. We'll take this wood and then we'll take we need some stone. Do I not have any stone? Do you have logs? What do you mean like wood logs? Yes. I have pale oak logs. Oh, there we go. We can make a couple of these. Yeah. Make a couple of these. There we go. I kind of wanted to go and do some more mining. Like I wanted to go and do some mining for a bit. Just because I want to try and find some more diamonds. Make a campfire and place it under the bee nest. Make some shears. It will give you wax so you can protect the golems. Oh, yes. So... Oh, I was like, what the fuck? There is a bee... I know where there's a lot of bees' nests, but for whatever reason, you have to wait until, they're like... Hold on, let me go over here. They're like dripping honey to like harvest them. And this one just won't drip any honey. Like it's not dripping, because I tried that before. I looked it up. It was not working. But yeah. I'm gonna mine right here. Yeah, we're already right here, might as well, right? Plus, I did remember I needed stone for something, so this is fine. It doesn't have flowers around. Oh, I have to have flowers around it? Oh, that checks out. That checks out. I'll remember that for later. Because I was like, why is it not making any honey? Where all my honeybee? Just digging straight down. Well, not straight down, but... Do. Digging, digging, digging. That, you know what, that's so true, but also I'm thinking like video game logic, where most of the time video games don't like apply that logic, but yeah, that makes sense. That checks out, that you would need flowers near. Because I want to take the bee nest eventually, like get silk touch and take the bee nest. Oh shit. Oh fuck. Get away from me. Oh, have I been here? I've been here. I know where I'm at. Yikes. Oh, I know where I'm at. Yes, I do recall. I have been here before. We're gonna dig down this way. I'm just digging down randomly. I'll eventually get rid of like this whole hill under the house because I'm gonna be terraforming. So it'll eventually just be gone. I'm gonna get so many like resources from doing that shit too. Have chests for days. Oh shit. Ooh, lots of iron. I'm not running low on iron, but it's always nice to get some more. Yeah, we'll just dig down here. I heard a zombie, so I was like, meh. Just keep digging, just keep digging, digging, digging. What is that? Oh, probably deep slate. Just keep going, digging, digging. Yeah, it's deep slate. No, I just don't want anything to like come up behind me when I'm not paying attention. Because when I mine, I kind of just zone out. Possible skelly farm. I do want to make like a mob farm. Like mob farms. Do. Alright, -3. What level does diamond spawn on? Just be the one who breaks... Just don't be the one who breaks spawners. I don't even think I've come across any spawners, honestly. -57? Oh, I've got a long way to go. We'll keep going. The cave noises trip me up sometimes. Do. I like that this turned into like impromptu playing Minecraft. But I didn't get much time to go on Minecraft today because I did the earlier stream today and then I was working, so I was like, ah, no time to play Minecraft. So this is nice. A nice little Minecraft refresher. Oh, and then also I won't be streaming tomorrow. There will be no stream tomorrow because I have to watch some kiddos. Which is why I did the 2 streams today, because I was like, I don't want to miss another, like, I don't want to miss another reading stream or Last of Us stream, so I just did them all today. Yeah, you did. You did. You did, in fact, miss the Last of Us stream. You did, in fact. You'll watch the VOD then? I'll say nothing too crazy happened, I think. Place this here. Perfect. Going down, down, down. Da-da-da. Almost there. I'm pretty sure it's the usual you screaming get away from me, bitch. How'd you know? You know what's really funny though? Is because, for one, that did happen. And I was showing my dad a clip of it and he was like, you seem to just say that a lot when you're getting attacked. And I was like, first off, true. Second of all, whatever. I guess I didn't realize how much I said that. I say that until like people point out, they're like, you know, you scream that while you're getting attacked. And I'm like, really? Do I? Really? At least like I know if I ever get kidnapped, then I'll be loud as fuck. Are we almost there yet? God, go down faster, bitch. Yeah. I guess I do just say it a lot, you know? What's this? Oh, it's tough. We found the tough layer. Dun, dun, dun. I feel like tough is a pretty useless, like, block to have. There's like, it's not even pretty. It looks like mud. Da-da-da-da-da. Perfect for ancient builds. I could see that, yeah. Oh. Let me get, I want these. Give me these. I'll take the lapis. I used a lot of lapis when I was doing enchanting, so I kind of need to restock a little bit. Okay, perfect. Just keep digging, digging, digging. Did I bring any wood with me? Fuck, I did not bring any wood with me. No, I didn't. I did not. But I had to use the books for something else, the ones that I had, so I was like, yeah, it's whatever. Like I said, I'm saving like big enchantments, like when I have like netherite and stuff. Damn it. I didn't bring any wood with me. So I can't make any more pickaxes. Oh, found a diamond. Oh, I was like, fuck, I can't mine the diamond though. Diamonds. Lots of diamonds. Damn. Okay, cool. Just keep digging down. Oh, iron, I'll take that. Oh, let me switch these back. Man, we've like came down so far. Enchant with the books, not your armor, because you might get shitty enchants. Yeah, I've always I always made enchanted books. I don't straight enchant my armor. Wait, what level? Level 57 is when we see diamonds usually. Okay. Almost down there. Do. Alright, level 57. Now we could just straight mine. Or if you're me, I gather slaves for them. Oh. I think a majority of people do. I think one of the people on the server did that, and that's how they got their Silk Touch enchantment, which I need to go over there and get that. Trade for it. Because I need Silk Touch. Do. Perfect. Make sure I'm not missing any diamonds. Same with diamond gear. I cure them and get it for 1 emerald. That's pretty good though. Oh, that's gonna fall too. Put that there. Oh, actually I don't need that. That's fine, we'll keep it there. Do. It's just so like mind-numbing. I can just like not even pay attention and just keep going. I could go on endlessly. Or at least until I run out of pickaxes. If I had brought wood, I could have just kept crafting more pickaxes, but I did not bring any wood. But also, I did not think I was really going to go mining, but here I am now, so. It is always a chill game. It's a nice, like, I like doing my, like, long, late night Minecraft streams, honestly. I miss doing those, because those were always just so, like, chill. Oh, whatever, Lemus, there's nothing behind me. I'm literally placing torches. Nothing is gonna spawn behind me. Sure. Sure. Man, I'm like not running into anything. It's kind of crazy. There ain't jack shit. I'm about to run out of pickaxes. Did I have anything saved in the bags? Crafting table, nope. No, I don't have any wood on me. I've literally been saying that. I just said I don't have any wood. I got 0 wood. I know, shame on me, I forgot the wood. The crawling method? What is the crawling method? Oh, I hear lava. I hear lava. I hear lava. Do you guys hear it? I think we're close to lava. I can hear it. Oh yeah, that was definitely close to lava. We're gonna go this way. It's like I knew I heard lava. Dun, dun, dun. Oh my gosh, there's a lot of tough. What was the level I found the diamonds on? Because I feel like that's more... Last server I was in, people came to me for XP because of the mob farm I made. I was the first one to have fully enchanted gear. Hell yeah. See, I think if I was grinding for like for gear and enchantments, I probably would have that by now, but I'm doing more so, oh, redstone. I'm doing more so looking for like materials to finish my house. So I haven't really been focusing on that aspect of the game. We're getting lots of materials though, so I'm not too mad about this. Even though I'd like to get some more diamonds, I'm not too mad that we're getting a bunch of deep slate and whatnot. I'm always running out of it anyway. Same with blackstone, but blackstone is more annoying to get because it's in the nether. Yeah, I'm so glad keep inventories on. The amount of times I've died already, I would have cried out of like all the shit I've lost. I would have rage quit, yes, I would have. No doubt about that. Trying to make sure my like diamond pickaxe doesn't get too low in health, because then I'll have to go and repair it. Because survival's too easy. Oh, I'm sure, yeah. Surely, miss. Oh, I hear spider. That means I must be near a cave, or it's above me. It'd be nice if I ran into a cave. I can hear it. Gotta be close. I wonder if it's just above us. Oh. I feel like I'm close to finding a cave. The mob I die a lot is RL craft. Oh yeah. I tried playing that one time and I got in and I was like, no. Absolutely not. One, because there's just too much shit and it was so like I kept getting distracted by everything. And also I just died every like 5 minutes, so actually, you know what? Yeah, we'll call it good here. That means there was a cave above me, though. Oh, we're back. Okay. I gave you guys like an extra 30 minutes of Minecraft content, okay? Oh, almost 30 minutes of Minecraft content. So, but we are going to call it here for the night. Give me just a minute. We're gonna find someone to raid, so don't leave quite yet. Let's see, who are we gonna go raid? Let's raid. Yeah, I'm doing the raid now. We'll go raid. Oh yeah, who are you gonna suggest? Because I was gonna do Hippie. But who do you want to suggest? Lemus? Yeah. All right, we'll go raid her then. But yes, so no stream tomorrow. The next time I'm streaming is Saturday, which is Legend of Zelda. Yes, Legend of Zelda. So be there, be square, and all that fun jazz. But anyway, have a good night, day, whatever it may be for you travelers, and bye-bye.